Because the food that you eat, especially when you order at home, you don't know from what God forsaken garage that food was made. Garage, I'm using the word. In fact, their situations are worse. आपको tasty लग सकता है वो खाना. When you talk about food, people do not want to talk about it. When you talk about hygiene, nobody wants to talk about it. We have the huge ducts for fresh air, exhaust. We don't cover them all. So what is happening is the rodents are finding their way. Once the rodent is finding their way, means what? By the time you would have courage, he already knows how to come in. You can't stop it. So I co-own this. So now we have a partner who's technical expert. So I am more face of the organization. I'm more like a to-go man. I will get most of the calls. I'll get most of the leads. I have more recoil value. I've got more followers on LinkedIn, etc. So I get a lot of these calls, etc. for any discussion that somebody would like to have. And precisely the reason we started Opstra, because when I was studying that, okay, what is it that you want to do? Been there, done that, being part of corporates, but ultimately you realize that your ideas, that whatever you have is not getting implemented into real operations, because there are many more people and hierarchies which are sitting above you, and you're not getting your freedom to implement things.
Got it.
Consulting was, when we thought, of course it has gone through its own ups and downs. When we started, no followers, no technical knowledge, etc., etc. Then we started learning everything fresh. So it's not like,
So I connect to you. We become actually. So you need to unlearn and then learn.
of course,
That is how you gain that path of a new phase.
I would not say that. Unlearning was not a journey for me. So in fact, it has helped my past life has helped me breaking the trends of how people think it's been done.
Okay.
How the consultant industry till today, and whatever study that I did when I started this, a consultant will always hold the information with you, right? So I know the answer I can give you, but I'll not give it to you today. Okay, and he's the one who will guide, push and
Bits and
drag
pieces,
and says,
yeah,
okay, I'll give you. Acha, आज ये देते हैं. Let that time come, then I'll give it to you. Which, when I was learning, I realized that it is such a gap. Okay, that people do not want to share that what they know. Okay,
Why is that? Like, if you are to decode here, why is that?
Because consulting till today, okay, has been a very it is not a very corporate organization setup. It is always a person driven a business, right? So some and they do not want to let it go, because there is a fear that if I educate people, which is my customer and my people, okay, they'll learn and they'll get out and they'll start their own consulting.
Which
Okay?
usually happens.
Which usually happens. Then we realize by doing that, you are bound and you're not allowing yourself to grow. Okay, as an organization. So like your team member is working like how people will work in a factory, that this is come, A plus 1 plus 1. You're not allowed to, even although you are a designer, but you're not allowing the design thinking to go into your design, right? So that is why people typically, when they do one kind of a job, they want to do that kind of a job only because it is a
Repeatedly.
copy paste for them.
Yeah.
And since the informations are not being passed on to them at one time, then the client is bound that, okay, this requirement will come and then, I'll come back to you. In a way, my thinking was different. I was thinking, why are we holding this information at all, right? What will it, see, everybody knows that, at least today there is a chat GPT, earlier there was Excel sheet. You can put those formulas and derive at a number, okay? Or at least study 10 of those projects for you to know that what happens in the 11th one, how difficult that code is. But when you open up that learning curve, then what happens is teaching and learning curve. I would say that, when you say, okay, give everything to the client, see what happens. Then we started this and we say that, while we learn, we will share everything with the client from day one. So he's not in dark, abhi kya karna hai. What
So you
detail?
give him the confidence that he just hired the right person.
Not like that. Our organization is an Opstra. We want to tell them that when you're working with us, there are no informations which is hitting with me.
Okay.
So don't have to keep referring to me again and again. That way I save my time and you have the confidence that what I'm building is right. Because in our business, there is a lot of data and drawing transfer happens. One person to the other, multiple revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, revision 4. And if I don't have a track of this revision, when it happened, how it happened, the client's side also, people change. Some PMC will change, some project manager will leave the job, because these projects are not completing in 1 or 2, 3 months. These projects are going from months to years together. So it is very difficult for you to see which is version 1, which is version 2, because in the first design, this table was here. In the third version, this table is moved there. But imagine if somebody is referring to this drawing or data, okay, saying that, this This is a version 1. Actually, your recent version is a version 3. Somebody started constructing on this. And this, we have seen enough and more time to see that, just because of these lags, there were situations. So then what we did was we started documenting every single instance of when these changes were happening in a very more documented format.
Okay.
So while we were sharing the drawing, of course, it has a date, it has the who did it, how did it. We also would capture that drawing and data into what we call it as a design basis report.
Design basis report.
Basis report, like when this change happened, how it happened, all that has been captured. How it has helped our clients in a longer term, and also it has helped us. We became better in data management. We kept learning because there was learning, not like we were gods, we know everything. Today also we call ourselves as a team of learners. So we learn, at times mistake happens, we go and own up that mistake, right, and move forward. For the client, it was easier for him to refer, by the time the operations is ready to hand over. Okay, all you have to do is you can use that manual, which is my DBR of version 2, saying this is how and what basis this back of the house or kitchen was created. Right, so we assume that this is the kind of restaurant that it is continental restaurant, or whether it is a Chinese restaurant, whatever it is, or what kind of rooms that we are serving to, and all. Everything is captured to the detail that what will go into my which part of the kitchen, because kitchen, the smallest of the kitchen is this kitchen that you see. The biggest of the kitchen, I think we are only the few consultants in the company. We have done one of the biggest kitchen in country. In fact, today while we are sitting in Sonipat, we are building a kitchen that is 3 lakh square feet. 3 lakh square feet of sheer kitchen. Before this, we have done one of the largest kitchen was 2 lakh square feet, which has a production capacity of 1,40,000 meals a day. Just
Then
because
might
we
be an
wanted
airline catering.
It was not an airline catering. It was for a frozen food factory,
Okay.
okay, which is catering to different brands as per their requirement. Let's say you're doing a biryani. Okay, so you are, let's say, biryani by kilo. I'm just taking a name. And you have your small cloud kitchen. So that cloud kitchen, you're not producing biryani. Okay, so what you're doing is basically you are tossing,
Assembling.
mixing, assembling, processing, and serving to your customers who are sitting at home.
So the base gets
So
ready in that
everything
kitchen.
is ready actually. In frozen food, like how French fries. What is a French fry? All of us eat French fries. What is a French fries? It is par fried, par cooked food given to you in a frozen format. You just fry it. It becomes a French fries for you. So for you, for an end user, it is a freshly made fries that you're using. But at least what you're doing is that the fries were already made. Right? It is just undergone a process of how the food is being eaten.
Of course.
And when you talk about food, people do not want to talk about it. When you talk about hygiene, nobody wants to talk about it. I recently written an article on LinkedIn. When somebody was asking me that, somebody was there in my office and he was saying that, Arey, how to handle pests problem in the, just a general question. I said, it's a very interesting question. Why you're asking? He said, in our restaurant or chain of central kitchen, we have this issue. I said, many times, we only blame the restaurant or the people who are using it, or at the most the pest control company who's servicing your kitchen. Okay, actually the problem lies in your infrastructure that you have created. See, the pests, cockroaches, rodents have been living on earth for like ever since earth came into evolution, right? Even before humans were there, right? So they know how to live. That is why it is pest control, and they have seen so many things. You only can control them, you cannot eradicate them, you cannot finish them off. If I need to control a cockroach coming into a premises, I don't have to give them the hiding points, right? So the more gaps you create on your construction, okay, when you are allowing the raw materials to come inside your stores, which is not being sanitized,
When
okay,
inviting them
you
to.
are inviting the pest to come in, and once the pest is in, if the infra is not correct, they will find a hiding space. They will go under the table, they will go in the corner, they will breed, have nice sex, and make a nice life, family will be built, and then one day that cockroach comes into food. When we are building such a large kitchens, okay, so construction time, everything is dust and mud and sand, cement, all that. We have the huge ducts for fresh air, exhaust. We don't cover them up. So what is happening is the rodents are finding their way. Once the rodent is finding their way, means what? By the time you would have courage, he already knows how to come in. You can't stop it. right? Can you go inside the duct to see that, how to stop that rodent from being there? You can't stop it. So when you're doing the construction, you need to close that duct off. When you're putting your exhaust fans, you need to put a net there, so that you know that you're not allowing the rat to come there, right? Because some of these buildings are multi-storied building. Who will know, God forbidden, from where what is coming? Nobody would know anything. Maybe you are doing all your pest control, all your good infra. Your infra is a problem. So when he was talking, and then after that, I just smiled and I said, you know what, I have a great experience. He said, what? At that time, and I just said, I will not say the name of the MNC, but here's a story. So I was the head of operations for a company called Obopay, right? And we were operating inside a IT park, multinational IT park, and we were given one of the food counters to operate. So American companies generally have very, very high standards of hygiene, pest control management, checklist systems, etc., etc. In spite of doing all that, one day one cockroach came into one sandwich, and the name of the story itself is Cockroach in a Sandwich. Hue and cry, shut down the restaurant, we are going to throw you out, you are responsible, and all that. So of course, with this kind of situation and that kind of escalation, the country manager has to rush in. So I rushed in, and I'm there. And after that, whatever you go say sorry, what can you do? But you did your back end check with your team. I say, what went wrong? What's happening? Why you guys are like, general. So then they pulled out the reports. Date number this. We have escalated this issue to the management that your false ceiling is infested by cockroaches. Right? That false ceiling or whatever is happening on top of my kitchen, which is under you, it is not in my control. And they have notified multiple times to the team there that there is an issue on your false ceiling. They also have notified during their quarterly meets that issue. They have written emails. They have shown the documents that your drainages are faulty, so they are coming back from the drain systems. Right. So we are doing pest control on the surface of what we can do, spraying, all that thing that you do. Your infra was poor, right? And ultimately, the food vendor is being penalized, right? Which is an operator. That is why operations is so close to me, and I feel for them. That is why the name of the company itself is Obstra, Operations Training Hospitality, Obstra. I feel the pain of an operator, what he goes through, standing on his foot for 10 hours, 11 hours, pulling and pushing trolleys, billing, cutting, chopping, smoke. So we will do a job, whereas my kitchens will be operations friendly. The kitchens I will work on, will be safe. The kitchens I will design, which will be sustainable. I'll save water. I will save electricity. I will see that, how am I making the job of that guy easier. You go and ask anybody that what is the mission of your company? What is the vision of your company? I have the vision of my company written everywhere in my office, including our visiting cards have safe, sustainable, operations friendly kitchen. We have got a pure appraisal system for our team.
Okay.
A matrix on which we evaluate how well we did
Okay.
a project. So how much water we saved, what is the saving we did, right? And how much time we took to complete a job. So then we realize after doing all that we are doing the jobs faster, because day one itself, I was giving all the information to the client, and I was only updating the DVR saying version 1, version 2, version 3, kept changing the dates. So we know that, okay, you only have to refer the last document which was being sent to you on 1st of March 2026. This is the last document that I have. You pull the document, pull all the data which is there at the backend available with you, and there is no ambiguity in project execution. And worst case scenario, if there is any challenge that has happened, go and sort it out at the floor level. There are many teams which is working in construction. It is your equipments that you're giving, the finishes you're giving, the false ceilings that you're putting, the amount of light that you're putting in that area. Imagine, we all say there's a poor lighting in a kitchen. Somebody just cuts his hand. How do you undo that? In buildings, in kitchens, it catches fire. Right? Two people lost their life. Entire building is shut for many, many years. Hue and cry and raid. You close, loss of property, okay, loss of business, whoever was having this business. But how will I justify the loss of that life? Will we ever be able to justify the loss of the life?
Not at all.
At the cost of that money that we decided, or the client decided, or the consultant didn't think that it was right for him to do. That put a system which is taking care of the fire, which can happen in one day in the kitchen. Precisely the reason we create so many fire exits. It only gets used once in a lifetime. Maybe
Of
this
course.
building is a multi-storied building. There is a fire exit. Right? Somebody can say, no, why do we need them? आग तो लगती नहीं है. जिस दिन आग लगती है,
उस दिन सिर्फ आग लगती
उस
है.
दिन आग लगती है. उसको मैं रिकवर नहीं कर सकता.
Very recently, like it was in the news also, you might have come across 4 to 5 days ago, there was a AC blast that happened in Vivek Vihar area. So the family who lost the life were near relatives. So again, the term, they were living in a very posh area and newly constructed buildings, so they were all inculcated with the technology. So those doors that didn't get opened up while they were rushing out, so that modern day technology, I don't know what happened that time, the remote was not functioning or something. Ultimately the result was that 9 people lost their lives. So again, I come to your point that, the problem is in the infrastructure.
Yeah.
जितना पैसा आपने बचाया होगा, जितना बजट आपने पास करा होगा, या जितनी आपने कॉस्ट कटिंग करी होगी, that jot down that a life is gone, and how will you justify that?
Yeah. So as a consultant, चलो आप consultant ना भी हो, आप किसी को मरता तो नहीं देख सकते.
And that too because of your
That too,
responsibility and
it
work.
was invariably
It
this
was
kind
in
of
your
response. Yeah.
hands.
It is so, when it comes, so as a consultant, we walk out of a project. That is a standard that we have. Life safety, no compromise. Right? कितनी बार बोलते हैं ये किचन हमने फ्लोर बना दिया है, आप ऊपर बनाओ, बोले हम नहीं करेंगे काम. बिकॉज ये किचन के फ्लोर को एंटी स्किड होने का. Right? Imagine somebody is walking with a knife in his hand. All the chefs are एक slip मारा पेट के अंदर गया.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. वो वेट एरिया है, वो होना ही है उसको.
And you can't rely on your other things, like you're wearing a footwear which is anti-skid or some sort of that technology that you, with your accessories and all, unless and until you are very rest assured of the flooring that you have put up or any kind of that thing.
I'll give you an example. We all have a seat belt in our car.
And then to
what do we have that seat belt for? God forbidden. कभी कुछ हुआ, गलती आपकी नहीं भी होगी, but at least your life will get saved because of the seat belt.
The Tata CEO died in that accident.
Yeah. Right?
So see, everything is bound to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that you do your work responsibly. So the word is responsibly, not correct, incorrect, budget friendly, not friendly. It is just adequate and responsible work.
I would say there's another word that we have learned in the past. It's called sincerity.
It was long back we understood sincere. Student is not sincere. No sir, I am not sincere. भाई ये रोल हो रहा है ना सब कुछ. हाँ मेरे को पता चले सर ने बात करी थी, रोल ही नहीं हो रहा. Intro तो मैं बाद में दूंगा. We are, along the way in the podcast now.
Sure.
So I just want to discover that being from an hotel management background. So as far as I understand that you completed your hotel management from IHM Bhubaneswar, right? उससे पहले how was life and family influence, and where did you grow up, and like what all happened in life that shaped you who are you today?
Well, I was born and brought up in Patna. I'm basically belong to Patna. I'm a Bihari, and I've done my 10+2, which is from Bihar board in Patna, Hindi medium guy. And I was very intelligent but not good at studies. Okay, so in my family there was always padho likho,
IAS and everything.
IAS, engineering, because our cousins were somebody was studying in IIT, somebody was studying some IA. Though your father or your parents also wanted to become something, but fact was that
Hmm.
you couldn't concentrate. So then hotel management was not a chosen career that you chosen.
Yes, I
I
know.
was
90s में किसी का भी chosen profession था ही नहीं.
correct. So we just sat down, came to Delhi, wrote some exam, got passed, appeared into interview, you
And
went
you
through
cleared
and then
in
cleared
IELTS.
and then parents said जो भी हुआ है जाओ हमें नहीं पता क्या होता है इससे. So at that time we didn't even know that after doing hotel management what you will become. Like at least today ना कि भाई if you're
तो
doing
होटल
let us say
मैनेजमेंट का एग्जाम ही क्यों दिया था? लाइक इफ यू वर
ऐसे ही
नॉट.
कुछ भी एग्जाम देते रहते थे उस समय राइट. जैसे वो बैंक
ओह,
के एग्जाम देते थे, क्लर्क का एग्जाम दे दिया, कुछ वैसा
अच्छा.
ही होटल मैनेजमेंट का एग्जाम दे दिया.
ओके.
Went through because it was easier. Biharis ka generally written logical reasoning and all is very strong. And we are born with that mathematical tricks, analytical tricks. Brilliant, you will find that.
You will, मतलब you were kind of studious or that kind.
I was studious up till about ninth, and then I changed my track. That's why my parents wanted to
So
throw me
basic
out.
knowledge of
Of course, was
mathematics
very
and
good.
everything.
Like it is in the blood. You can calculate like somebody will take calculator or that. I can just calculate like that.
Hmm.
Or that too in Hindi. We calculate wo guna, bhag, jodo, ghatao. That's how you. So then you did your hotel management again. You are not studying there. In fact, first year I was a very good student, and I will attend all the classes. And I was inclined towards going into kitchen operations, being a chef, etc. That was in the first year. And just before the final exams, I fell sick. Right. So I was writing my exams. Okay, with very very high fever. Okay, and I was 100% sure that I'm going to fail. Okay, so I lost all my interest in
Kitchen.
studies, everything that you went for your training. You're saying तुम्हें तो fail ही हो रहे हो यार. Your
So
own
where did
favorite
you do your
subject.
training from?
I did my training from that was a hotel called Centaur at Juhu Beach, Mumbai,
Hmm.
which
Quite
later
famous
on,
that time.
at that time, very famous. There were two properties of Centaur. One was at Airport Santa Cruz, and one was at
Juhu.
Juhu. So I was at the Juhu property.
Okay.
Right. So during that time, I had no because the most favorite subject was your food production. Oh, that was the first exam. Okay, and while writing, you realize that ये तो गया high fever. So when I was doing my training, also there were a lot of 3-4 friends of ours. So they will see me in lost interest, not doing
How did the
nothing.
training go? Saw
Training
the
was
hotel for the
good.
first time?
I'm sorry.
You saw the hotel for the first time?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
That too 5-star hotel. Like
And that too in a place like Mumbai.
that too in a place like Mumbai. And it
Exposure
was
तो बहुत जबरदस्त मिला होगा.
बहुत जबरदस्त. And you were enjoying actually. In fact,
Okay.
I was the trainee of the year being given by the Centaur team because they love me working in the kitchen. So I remember my first day at kitchen, and I started. That's why I was giving a reference to how tough it is. So you started your shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, first day, and you went and you says, "Hi, I am trainee, whatever." So the chef said, the first job was given to me that onion का head and tail cut करो, उसका एक peel कर दो. Only single job. आगे काटो, पीछे काटो, peel करके, और उसने बोला होदी भर दो. And the hodi was like big one, like. So I kept doing that. I cut my finger first day. So the chef or the commie, whoever it was, said, "अरे उंगली कट गया, बहुत शुभ है." जा first aid करा गया. And then you wrapped your finger, came back again, and with that you kept doing that thing. 4 o'clock, shift changed. Okay, so I asked the chef, can I move on? Shift is over. अरे नहीं वो second shift में आएगा ना, उससे पूछना. अभी हम जा रहे हैं. Then I continue. वो आया 5-5:30 बज गए. उसको पूछा हमने कि शेफ कैन आई गो. आई केम एट 7 o'clock in the morning, फर्स्ट शिफ्ट. ये होदी भर दे, चला जा. एंड दैट होदी भरता अप टिल उसका भी शिफ्ट खत्म होने वाला है. रात के 11 बज गए, उसकी भी शिफ्ट खत्म हो रही है. तो उससे पूछा कि शेफ मैं जाऊं. अरे नहीं अगले इसका राइट शिफ्ट आएगा ना तब जाना. एंड आई रिमेंबर द थर्ड शिफ्ट केम. देन बाय 11:30 ही सेड अरे सुबह आया जा.
Okay.
दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट डे ऑफ.
कितना होदी भरा था उस टाइम?
मुझे याद ही नहीं है. मैं आप इमेजिन करो, आपका जॉब कुछ नहीं है.
हाँ.
हेड काटना, टेल काटना, एक पील निकाल के छोड़ देना है. तो होदी भरता ही नहीं था क्योंकि जो भी आता था वो लेके चला जाता था उसमें से. बिकॉज दे हैड देयर मीजा प्लास एंड दे ऑल द अदर एक्टर्स. आई केप्ट डूइंग द सेम थिंग फ्रॉम 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock in the night.
And that to first day.
First day. And because you wanted to, whatever you're doing and you got a gut and all that. In the next 3-4 days, I became their favorite.
Very obedient.
Very obedient, hardworking, जो बोलेगा कर देगा kind से करता रहा मैं. In fact, I remember because of that effort, the kitchen guys were not ready to let me go only. उसमें अपना एक एक महीने का एक शिफ्ट 2 महीने तक उन्होंने रखा मुझे. उसके बाद वहाँ एक फेस्टिवल हुआ. उस फेस्टिवल में मुझसे वो 36 घंटे काम कराते थे.
तो इस बीच में कुछ खाना बनाना सीखा या हेड टेल और वन पील ही
नहीं
चल रहा
वही
था?
वो कोई बोला नान लगा दे, कोई बोलेगा पेल काट दे. हेड एंड टेल तो काटते रहे, बट देन यू लर्न ऑल राइट. आई रिमेम्बर and that time good you reminded me of Centaur Hotel. I interacted first time, not interaction, just a brief thing with chef Sanjeev Kapoor. He was executive chef.
I knew that his name would arrive when we were talking about Centaur Hotel Juhu.
So I remember, so we all will see him standing. He will come with a standing newspaper lenge and he will go and sit. That's what he will do. Executive chef का तो क्या ही काम होता है. They are more managers and than real chefs. So one day I was just, I don't know what I was slicing. I was slicing something, and this leg was there on one of those rails. So then he comes and says, I got a pat on my back. I saw Sanjeev Kapoor, and he hit me on the leg. Rainy, yes, chef. And you are like, first you learn how to stand in the kitchen. Don't put your foot in this. That was my interaction with Sanjeev Kapoor. Right, and you continue doing this. But yeah, I was favorite. Not only that, after that I went to service also. I was their favorite as well. But then I realized our results came and I didn't manage to pass. I don't know how I passed. Something happened. But the interest in studies never came back. Okay, you were good at interacting, talking, doing. You learned more. So then my interest from food production it went into service because I loved meeting. I loved.
So that part of interaction that was not happening in the backstory of the kitchen that happened on the shop floor of the restaurant.
Yeah, because then I realized that you're meeting new people all the time, right?
Yeah.
You need to interact more.
So coming from a place like Bihar and trained in like Bhubaneswar, moving on to Mumbai, like I could see and sense that confidence in you. So by the time you entered into that lobby of speaking with people, so was there any kind of a language barrier or something that stopped you, or just you learned along the way?
I just learned along the way. I never felt till today. I mean, in fact, I have a lot of those guys whom we pull up from different parts of the country, and we train them and we give
Okay.
them the confidence that it is just a language.
Okay.
As long as you're open, okay, you don't even have to speak. So Hindi or English also doesn't matter. Kannada also doesn't matter. What matters for you is your face speaks,
Of course.
right? A smile on your face, a positive attitude of yes or no, and then we do many things. But
So that kind of hospitable attitude, I believe that it is welcoming and shaping you what you want to be and what you want to deliver.
I didn't notice at that time that
Yeah,
it was
that time was
happening.
very young, very
Yeah,
raw.
so we didn't know. I mean, and all you knew was that okay, you're doing hotel management course. You know that the jobs are not available. After you would have completed your hotel management. So during my training, I had lost interest in working in hotels, for sure. I said I
ऐसा क्या
will.
हुआ? Like it was going good and like you said.
Everything was good, but then you realize that so much of slogging, thankless kind of a job that you do. Okay.
What were you expecting that you felt thankless?
I was expecting that when you're going for trainings, etc., like when you're there in the hotel management colleges, there you're learning. They're teaching you how to do this sauce to that baking to that convection. Every day was new because you're learning something. In hotels, nobody was teaching you. You were actually working there, right? Nobody was telling you. Let us say if I am, so it's like this. I'm making tandoori roti, for example. Okay, I can make. But if somebody can teach me at that time that, while you are putting tandoor, tumhara haath jal raha hai and all that, this cooking method is called convection.
Hmm.
How different it would have been, right? I would have become consultant 20 years ago, not today. Right? So those kind of, so that is why we, when we are doing whatever we are doing at our team, or my learning has been because I was always blessed to have a good teacher with me as a
Okay.
mentor and a guide. Wherever I worked, whether I was working in that Centaur Hotel example that I gave, or the other jobs that I picked up during the course of my career. So there was always a mentor who was ready to mentor you, coach you to see that you know where you're going wrong or how you would have done your job better.
Of
That way I was
course.
blessed, right? And I was blessed maybe because of my own attitude of never giving up, saying, okay, jo bhi hai karte raho. I don't look at that whether you're the smartest of the person or whether you're whatever. You've learned something, you do that job to your satisfaction so that you when you go
Hmm.
home, you get a good sleep. That's all.
So by the time you were into Centaur Hotel and then you came out, so didn't they stop you like when मतलब होता है ना industry में, like when you are flourishing, so they kind of retain you and give you a job in the mid of your course?
Had it been any other hotel, I'm sure that it would have happened. But Centaur Hotel was a semi-government hotel at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for them it was everything was sarkari job.
Okay,
So they were not. There were unions were very strong. The teaching and learning culture was not there. So even if you would have stayed, it wouldn't have made any difference
of
to
course.
them,
So by the
right?
time you came back to the catering college once again after the training, so like you told that you lost the interest into working hotels
I didn't tell anybody, to myself,
to yourself.
whatever.
So then after completion of the course from IHM Bhubaneswar, how did it start into professional thing?
The first thing being a Bihari, first thing where
Hmm.
is came to Delhi, saying, "Boss, hotel में तो मुझे काम करना नहीं." I was very sure because I had made up my mind that I will not work in this. But at the same time, when I came here, the I saw that restaurant industries are more happening
Back
here.
in 1999.
Back 1999. Like I remember TGIFs coming at that time.
Hmm.
I saw Cafe Coffee Day coming at that time. I saw Barista coming at
Hmm.
that time. I saw McDonald's picking with that time. So that was more glamorized and more. I could see that you know when you do something, you will get recognized, and that the same thing happened, right? I picked up a job, okay, and I was recognized within 6 months. And it continued till
What was that recognition?
recognition means whatever you're doing quickly got notified that you know okay fine he
How it came?
understands.
Like, what's that example in the first company?
So when I came to Delhi, that was in '99, in the month of March or April, something like that. So I just picked up a job of waiter in a restaurant. Okay,
Which
because
restaurant was this?
there was a restaurant called Cafe Round the Corner in N block of Greater Kailash 1. And I was just picked up a waiter. Somebody said it's a job for captain. I said, "Chalo, whatever, you know, at least you'll have a job." I picked things up so soon, right? Within 6 months, you know, my manager can go on rest. He will not come for 3 4 days. To the extent that he will say that you know I don't know whether I am really required here because ये सब कुछ तो manage हो जा रहा है आप. And he left the job. At that time, I had that courage that I went to the owners. It was a small place, right? Went to the owners. I said, "Do you really want to hire a manager? I will manage this. Give me an opportunity. If I manage it well, you make me a manager of this place,
Okay.
right? Otherwise, anyway, what I'm doing, without changing my uniform, black and white uniform that I used to wear. I started interacting with chefs, change menu, whatever I could feel, I did there. Started interacting, made
And
my
no
own
prior
team.
experience apart from that
No,
hotel.
no experience. Within 6 months, that sales started changing.
Oh,
More people started coming, more regular started coming. They started coming more frequently than what used to come. And I was within that 1 year, I was made the manager of that place because owner said, okay, you know, you can manage it well. So in my life, whenever things have become monotonous, I'll become bored because then it's boring for me. I stayed there for 1 year. After that, it was boring. You know, it went, it started doing profits, it did whatever it did. More people came, they
that became
recognized you.
everyday affair.
And that became every day for again. I became bored. So I picked up another job. That job I picked up, I was picked up as a some assistant manager, then store manager, area manager, and by the time you realize that you are growing again after 4 years, you were bored. Then I joined Cafe Coffee Day as an area manager. I was handling more number of stores. I became regional manager. So the journey from managing 7 stores to 110 stores of
What
what
came
I did.
along in terms of learning, in terms of seeing their aesthetic, in terms of their
There's
operations?
nothing. I think it was more like Cafe Coffee Day was more like giving you freedom to do what you want to do in a framework,
Okay.
right? So Coffee Day at time was growing.
Hmm.
Good or bad, today I can say good for me, may not be good for them, but they did not had a very solid structure of how to manage operations, which I learned much later.
Okay, to the viewers, break down operations here. Like, what do you refer to as operations?
Operations is everything that you do on a day-to-day basis to ensure there is a consistency in service, consistency in how food is being made, and consistency is how the customer sees the value in this. And if he is happy, that is the end of your operations. Product, consistency, SOPs, and happy customer. End of
Okay.
service.
And you think that you have mastered that since it's been so long and, working with those brands and, managing those number of outlets, number of people, delivering their experiences into multiple cities and states. So you think you have mastered that art of operations?
No,
Because,
I'm learning.
okay, in a way, I can say
So
that a
you
level
can't
of,
say mastering, but you learned a lot,
okay.
right? So every because when I thought that my learning with Cafe Coffee Day was over,
Hmm.
okay, it had stopped. Then actually my learning started. I joined another company called Obopay chain of cafes, which was an American chain of cafes. So Obopay and RP Sanjeev Goenka group collaborated. They have taken a master franchise, and I joined them as a national head for the company. And then of course, joining Obopay was a game changer in how I used to think.
ये वाला थोड़ा हिंदी में प्लीज, क्योंकि एक्सपीरियंस है ना, एंड प्लीज बी ओपन अबाउट इट.
ये इतना स्पेशल था मेरे लिए. अटेंशन टू डिटेल अगर कहीं से सीख सकते थे तो दैट लर्निंग फॉर मी वाज फ्रॉम देयर.
और ये कहाँ पे बेस्ड है?
एक्चुअली इज अ यूएस बेस्ड कंपनी. ओके, बट बैंगलोर में था, अब तो सब बंद होके नाउ दे डोंट एग्जिस्ट. थिंग्स कैन बी ब्रोकन डाउन to the level of detail that I learned in Overpay, which where your day as a head of operation also will start with a checklist.
So a day in life at that company, in that company, like attention to the detail and everything that you mentioned.
The detail was to the core. That first thing that we learned was that hospitality is number one for you. Customer care is number one for you. So when you are there at the store, doesn't matter what hierarchy you are at, you are basically a team member serving a customer. Whether you're a general manager, you're head of operations, whether you're HR manager, whether you're account manager. That was the learning that we saw there. Right. So our day in Obopay, let's say I'm going to one of my cafe as a head of operation. It will start with looking at the signage, whether it is clean or not clean. You'll start touching the surfaces, whether the tables are clean or not clean. Go along the way, you check the products, whether it has been displayed as per the SOP which has been given. When you go and look at the temperatures of the product has been taken right or not, whether the measurement of the equipment, one muffin has to be of 10 mm of diameter, then it has to be a 10 mm of diameter. 11 mm is a compromise to you.
Hmm.
Okay, checking temperature, checking the serving standards, looking at uh, whether every station is stocked with a merchandise to welcome a guest, and that will start at 2 hours before you actually start your operations, and you will run with the checklist just 15 minutes before that
Okay.
operation starts. Under no circumstances you are, as a employee of OPE, you're allowed to sit in your cafe. You have to be on the floor. You have to be with your team. You have to speak to customers, right? And maintain a 5 foot rule, which was a rule. Actually, this rule I came to know much later on, which Obope was adopted by companies like Pritimanjan in US. It was adopted by a company called Panera later on. 5 foot rule is a rule which says that when you come across anybody which is 5 foot difference distance to you, then you have to acknowledge that man.
I think Marriott has that learning
Yes.
because I vividly remember going through those SOPs and 5 foot and 3 foot rule
Yeah.
also, and 3 minute check-in time. So it is so fresh in my mind because, as you rightly said, that slogging and everything that went on is still fresh in my blood. That I can relate to you on every point that you mentioned. That attendance to detail and everything. So hospitality embeds you like just anything which is applicable everywhere in this world.
It is
Everywhere.
it is fascinating to see how you see a world, just because somebody teaches you of looking at the same thing with a different perspective.
Of course.
That time we started, our perspective was always the customer. Our perspective is always the team. Okay. So philosophies change from customer centric first to become team centric.
Okay.
A happy team ensures that there are happy
Customers.
customers, right? In coffee day it was not the same, right? Says customer is the first, right? Even if your slog doesn't matter, but here it was being taught to take care of your team first,
They'll take care of
and
the customers.
everything was about training there. We never used to fire anybody, right? The mistakes will be broken down to what made this mistake happen. For example, one customer went on Facebook and I went to Obope Cafe and it was the sandwich was not good. Okay, and he wrote something there, and I visited the store. If I take my previous learning, I was being told to see that how do you retrieve that customer, do all that. Here I was being told that's not your job. That is a job for marketing. Let them do that because the damage is already done. They will take care of that. You take care of your house first. Find out when the customer visited, how it happened, who was there on the duty, whether whether the complaint was of the product or service, and at that time who was the shift manager on duty and who was the guy who was working at that station. So for you to know that it was not a generic problem, it was a problem of maybe the lack of training, maybe the lack of knowledge, or maybe the lack of alertness of the manager. You have to break the problem down to that detail, and once you figured out what was the problem, do a training in that store and do a follow-up training in that store and do a training in every store on the same subject, thinking that if it has happened here, it also would have it must be happening in other stores also. This will become a 15 days agenda for you.
So this was an American culture.
This was an American, I would not say American culture, but was the culture which was many years ago was being adopted by Yum brands, McDonald's of the world, Pritimanjo, a lot of American companies. You're right in that way, but the because that is why the one of the most successful food franchises are Americans. If you look at it
In that genre.
in that genre, right? Learning and training culture, if it's there in the team, that is also how you retain people, right? It's not always about money. First thing that I hear in this industry that people are like that. People live because they're at that level. Well, people don't work for money. Money is given. Anything that you're doing, money has to be paid. It has to be paid on time. It has to be done at the basic requirement. But the learning is people like little bit of challenges in their life. People like little bit of pat
Boundary
on their
push.
back,
Yeah.
right? That you did a good job. These two things, if it is there, recognition, little bit of challenge every day into your job. Let's say if I am a kitchen consultant today, and my job has become monotonous, same thing, same drawing, same clients, same projects. What is exciting for me, even though I'm the co-founder or partner in this company, what will excite me to go to the job tomorrow? Because I know there is a team which is there doing the job every
So
time for me.
everyday motivation is lost.
Everyday excitement is not there. See, there is nothing like motivation.
Hmm.
Motivation is very temporary. For anything that you see, motivation is temporary. You will watch a video, you'll get motivated, but you see next day you are doing the same thing that you did yesterday.
That was a spike on that activity.
Just it just ignites you for some time, but if you really want to make it
Then it
happen,
boils down.
then you have to put more systems in places so that becomes repeatable and becomes easier for you. It's like quitting smoking vis-a-vis smoking. People say that I will. So if I'm a smoker, if I'm trying to quit, they'll say I'm quitting, right?
Good.
And every day that okay, चार हो गया, तीन हो गया, दो हो गया, all that will happen. But if you track it down every day, it will happen.
Yeah.
And you say, okay,
Compounding
let us
effect.
say if you are smoking 5 cigarettes a day, you say, okay, I'll bring it down to 4 mandatorily for the next 15 days. So now it has changed the track. What people do is they suddenly cut everything down, saying, boss, I've become a sadhu and this all.
That
Because that is all,
backfires.
it backfires. Then 4 can become 3 for a period of time, then 2. And over a period of time, then you realize that you know that smoking thing doesn't come to you.
Of course.
So it's more like a habit creation. So when we start smoking, also is the same thing. First we fire when we were kids, 14, 15 years, paper roll karke. Then it became,
So the real example is, if you have come across this guy, I'm sure you must have come across, is a stand-up comedian and actor, Jivesh Waluwalia.
I have not heard of him, just to be.
Okay, so he's a famous, renowned stand-up comedian. Did multiple shows overseas as well. Very popular in Bangalore as well. So he was chain smoker. Chain smoker. Couldn't speak about 2 sentences without a smoke. And now, the way you told, he just did that. 5:4:1:0. So no smoking for the past 2 years now. So that is how it implements and how it works. So it is compounding,
Yeah,
and compounding effect is the most impressive of all. That
agree
is
with
what
you.
I understand.
Agree with you.
So agree with me on one more question, that apart from all these stuff, operations and heads, what creativity clogged into your mind that you stepped into the genre of designing kitchens?
That's a tough question.
टफ क्वेश्चन. एंड बिफोर दैट आई वुड लाइक टू टेल दी ऑडियंस, हम शेफ्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, रेस्टोरेंट ओनर्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, और आज की डेट में बात करते हैं रेस्टोरेंट को डिजाइन करने वाले लोगों की. बट जिस पर्पस से आप रेस्टोरेंट जाते हैं, जिस पर्पस से शेफ काम करते हैं, रेस्टोरेंट ओनर्स काम करते हैं, दैट इज नोन एज किचन. हर एक का काम होता है. एंड इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड ऑल्सो, इट वॉज प्रिविलेंट इन अर्लियर डेज ऑल्सो, किचन डिजाइन करना इज अ सिस्टमैटिक वर्क. इट इज नॉट कि आप 2 टेबल्स ले आए, ओवंस ले आए, गैस रेंज रखा एंड यू जस्ट स्टार्टेड ऑफ विद द ऑपरेशंस. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. So it is something that requires uh, it requires a lot of technical knowledge, lot of knowledge of plumbing, electricity, drainage, fire exit, safety, and how the food be transported to you and how it will be stored and everything. So that is very important aspect of any kitchen that is sustainable, that is functional, and it is chef friendly. On that note, sir, if you can explain, like, किचन कंसल्टेंट्स, लोगों को, मेरे को लगता है आज भी थोड़ा सा ये क्लीशे लगता होगा, या फिर दे वुड नॉट अग्री टू दैट पॉइंट कि कंसल्टेंट की जरूरत किचन डिजाइनिंग में क्या है. बिकॉज इन इंडिया, अगर आप बड़ा पिक्चर देखें, देयर आर पीपल नाउ दोज हु अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ पीपल लाइक यू, बट उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें ज्यादा फोकस करने की जरूरत नहीं है. शेफ है, वो थोड़ा बहुत गाइड करेगा, एक उनका रेस्टोरेंट का आर्किटेक्चर है, वो ये बताएगा कि यहाँ कर सकते हैं. Where do you come into the picture, and what space do you fit in?
First of all, I would say that in this space, when you're talking about, of course, I will just little elongate this
Of course,
discussion.
please.
Chefs are the main point of the food business that you're into. Okay, so when we started Obstra, so when I'm saying chef means chef and the operations team, whether they're working the front of the house as waiters, captains, managers, or people who are working at the back of the house, including the housekeepers. They operations team goes through a lot of effort in producing what they produce, or to the level of customer service that they've good. So they go through a lot of stress in day in and day out. So standing in your foot for 10 hours, okay, we say that chefs are only cooking. Chefs are not only cooking. Chefs are dragging materials from one side to the other side, right? Somebody is cleaning the floor all the time. Somebody is cutting and chopping entire day, only doing one job. A kitchen consultant's role is to ensure that, first of all, that the team is whatever work that they are doing, how do we make their job easier? So let us say I give an example of slicing, cutting of vegetables, onions, peeling, washing. Depending on the load of the food that you're producing and the raw materials that they're either prepping, you need to see that, can there be a machine that can do their job? There are a lot of industry innovations that keeps happening there. You are a chef, you will know certain things, but when you're a kitchen consultant, you meet 20 kinds of chefs. You meet 100 kinds of kitchen equipment manufacturers who produce many things. So you are updated in the technology. When you're working on wrong heights of either cooking, tossing, your back goes for a toss. It does not work properly. You will have back pains, right? Kitchen consultants maintain these heights so that the people who are working there, they are working effortlessly. They are working happily. Their job also is to ensure that, these kitchens are safe. They're not slippery. Ensuring safety doesn't only mean life. Life is one side of it. Other side is the food safety. How do we ensure that, pests are not getting into your food? No cockroach falls into your food. If people ask me, like how you asked that pest control is subject, I give an example of nobody purposely puts a cockroach into your food. It comes from the infra. If I have designed an infra poor, how will something be able to protect the food from being contaminated by a cockroach or any other pest for that matter? There are a lot of areas which is where we do a lot of cutting, peeling of fruits, etc. Fruits means fruit flies comes.
Of course.
It does not matter in what kind of close atmosphere you are, it comes. How do we ensure that, after the work is been done, it's immediately easily cleaned? What kind of drain systems that you have created so that, your food is, your foul smell which is being created in the drain, it is not contaminating your food. All we know that today this muffin is tasting chemically. Nobody has put the chemical into it. The chemical was there in the infra. Maybe your wall was painted with a non-food grade paint. Cleanliness, which is the utmost hygiene in the kitchen. Equipment comes much later in the scheme of things कि क्या बनाना है, कितना बनाना है, कितना रोटेशन बनेगा, कैसे होगा. उससे पहले हमें इस किचन को साफ करने के लिए I need my pieces be in order. I remember when I was doing my second job here in Delhi. Some of my team members used to keep mopping all the time, right? Because kitchen है, गंदा होता है, पानी गिरता है. In the construction, if you just create 2 degree drop towards the drain, पानी गिरेगा, गंदा करोगे, automatically उधर चला जाएगा, right? The effort is reduced. Nobody is slipping into that kitchen. I am a chef. I am working at a temperature of, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 100 degrees of, depending on which, what I am cooking. Exhaust systems has to be planned. The fresh air systems have to be planned. Imagine in Delhi, the temperature will be 40, 45. My chefs are being cooked every day while cooking that food that we relish sitting on our table. Somebody has suffered. Over a period of time, their lungs block because the air circulation in that area is not proper. People will have long term diseases working in those atmospheres. So, from body ergonomics to the infra, to the hygiene, to the safety, to the operations friendliness, only doing simple stuff of loading and unloading. It is being done by somebody who's working in the kitchen, whether you want to call it a chef or a housekeeping guy or a porter, still is a part of my back of the house employees. How do I ensure that their job is, or their life is safe? They're working effortlessly. They're enjoying their job.
When did you find the need to do this? Because everything that you mentioned is was the need of an hour every time ever since operation started, no matter what the size was of that place or the facility. So when did you figure out personally in your span of career that it needs to be done and you have to do this?
I don't know that. I don't have a clear
So
answer to that.
when did you switch? What made you
So
switch?
the switch was that, we, of course, you loved working. I love hearing, talking, discussing restaurants, food service. That has been my hobby ever since I passed out. So there is a there is a food service guy inside me who always looks at things. Acha restaurant mein kya acha hai? Not only about food, कौन सा equipment
Around
लगा,
the food,
कैसे
whatever
around the food क्या
happens.
क्या हो रहा है, right? So there was a sense of learning that you wanted to do. That how can you learn and leverage that learning to a problem solving kind of a situation, which makes the job of the end user better. Okay, that is why we said that we will do this, because when we set up Obstra, we said okay, maybe we can, with my understanding of food service, whatever limited that I have, we created this with a sense of learning. That how, and then we said why. Right? Then we said okay, let's fix this, let's learn this, let's do this, let's do the learning.
I want to decode why.
Been there, done that. You all your life you have seen the suffering that you've seen.
Got it.
Okay, so that is why we said that okay, let us do something, let's be a little vocal. That is why you see a lot of blogging from my side that happens, which talks about hygiene, safety, pest control, food service design, all your understanding. In fact, there is a book which is about to be launched. It is already be announced in AHA this year. It's called Flame to Fame.
Hmm.
Okay, written by myself, which is my 25 years of learning the food service industry
Hmm.
on what makes a food service successful. What are the small quotes that you have? So people always see only the food side of it, as what you said. You have opened a restaurant and say that, okay, what do you do? People will say that I serve great food. Hello, come on. You have started a food business. The food has to be good. What are you saying that, my food is good? Lot of food service operators, owners, the operators, whoever are there, they think that, they're in a food business. The people who are there in the food business, they're not in a food business. They're into an experience business. Food is a part of it. Your kitchen design, your front of the house design, your choice of cutlery, crockery, what feeling that you give it to the customer when he comes to you. For you to choose whether you should be called as a casual dine or a fine dine or a QSR, you should understand that what makes one thing different from the other. How do you choose a price point for a product? A burger sells at 50 rupees to 800 rupees in a five-star restaurant. What makes that burger different? You may say that, okay, I'm putting artisan bread, I'm putting the best of the meat into it. Okay, but you have to make it presentable in a way, or the experience has to be given to the customer that he feels that how the food has been eaten. The entire ambience, the gambit of how the food is being presented to you, every part is important, right from the cutlery, crockery, your kitchen design to your interiors, to the detail that even if somebody is ordering at home, same experience has to go to his place. It is not like wrapping a burger and sending it back to you. They should feel that, okay, they are eating burger from this place and that is how they are paying this price. In this book, I've given many examples of how you decode yourself from these price points, how you choose which side of business that you want to be in, whether you should be a QSR. A lot of restaurant owners, they don't even know that whether they're QSR or they're a casual dine. So what kind of service they should adopt? They should adopt a table service, or whether they should adopt a counter service, or whether they should do what in the cafes today is called as a fusion service. Like you take the order on the counter, but you serve it on the table, like a in between table and self serve. All these things determine what you want to offer to your customer. Who's your TG? Not everything is be liked by everybody. I can give you the world's best pasta at 100 rupees to you. Even if it's the world's best tasting pasta, it will not taste good to you. Because you're not eating the experience. You're not the TG. You are a 100 rupees, chart eater. If I attract you into my restaurant of a 100 rupees pasta, there is a complete disconnect. For me to be able to attract the customer who cares for a good quality pasta, then I should decide who my TG. I will decide my pricing accordingly. I will decide my raw materials ingredient. I will decide my serving standards. I will. So this entire thing is a package of how the food is being served to you. Kitchen design is a part of it.
What I figured out from the talks is that it is very intriguing to learn about such kind of things, because it's not only the menu, but it is only the menu that decides. Why? Because I tell you that आज की डेट में लोग इतने एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं विद देयर कोई शेफ है अपनी जर्नी को शोकेस करना चाहते हैं, मेकिंग बिग रेस्टोरेंट्स एंड एवरीथिंग. I totally agree with you that you cannot relish the dish unless you experience that ambience, right? From an example, from a true life example, and it's an open show if you can name also, because it is dedicated to the industry also. Can you explain very crisp a person coming in contact with you and establishing entire process of any commercial kitchen, restaurant kitchen, or whatsoever project that you did, or out of that also, if you have some those experiences of which we are unable to connect or which we are unable to reach at that point.
Um, to be honest, in all fairness, as much as we talk about food service restaurant, I also am talking about it. But kitchen consultants requirement in a smaller restaurant is very limited.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll talk about little larger kitchen, and I
please.
will I will take an example of there is a
Yes.
brand in Bangalore called Brick Oven Pizza. Brick Oven Pizza is a great business started by two partners who left their jobs, whatever they went and studied bread baking. They left, and whatever careers that they had, they learned cheese making. They came back to India and started this business. Okay, and Then they say that we are unable to cope up with the orders that they're getting, right? So how do we simplify that? So then we realize they're not running one store, they're running more than one store. Okay, and all of them doing good because the food is good. Okay, the service standard is good. That's why people are coming. But there are operational challenges that they're seeing because their infra is poor. They have grown inorganically because when they started, all any food business that starts, they start. Then they realize that okay, हमारे पास order कम हो रहा है, ज़्यादा हो रहा है. ज़्यादा हो रहा है is a good problem to be in. That is the time you have to look back and introspect that how can I cater more? Let us say if I'm being able to cater 200 customers in a day from this infrastructure, okay, and you want to expand your business, how will you expand? You can add square footage to it, okay, by taking more space and all that. And most of the time, because the place has already been signed up, you don't have space, right? The landlord doesn't have space to give you. Where will you expand? On the road? Of course, you have
You
to
have to,
rejuggle
of
within.
course, of course.
Then we said, let us open a central kitchen for you.
And how did they reach you? Like, if somebody wants to reach you, what's the process? Apart from calling me now.
They can find us on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay, they can also write to us. Projects@opstra.com or swarn@opstra.com. They can write to us. Some of those numbers are also available somewhere or the other. Not like we really put our numbers that please call me for your kitchen consulting requirement, because our job is more of a referral. So if you are a hotel owner, restaurant owner, or a central kitchen owner on your business, you have consulted with me in the past, okay, you have liked my work, right? You refer to your friend of yours.
Of course.
That is the only business that we have. So we don't have a real reach, as in saying that, okay, how do we reach? Our whatever small name that we have today is only because of our involvement in what we do. We go at times beyond.
So they mail you, they find you on LinkedIn.
They mail us, they find on LinkedIn, they also call people and take our numbers and call us. That's the only way they can reach
So
us.
you represent, or there are somebody like at the first point your team meets or the manager meets, or you meet them at the first point?
I prefer meeting our clients. Between me and Avinash, who's my business partner, I prefer meeting them at least for the first couple of meetings myself,
Okay.
because then I can gauge the requirement. Like I gave an example of brick oven pizza. We also come across a lot of other people, who are there in this business, who has the money, aspiration, everything to either start or scale up. I'll give you another example of, there was a customer for us doing very well in Bangalore, Paper and Pie. Okay, I'll come back to brick oven pizza also. Paper and Pie had 3 stores at that time, all of them doing really well. So they came to us saying that we are unable to manage the load. We want to open a central kitchen. Then, of course, their numbers were good, but the volumes were not so high for me to recommend him a central kitchen. So I told him, if you do little bit of restructuring in your current kitchen, you will be able to produce more. Don't worry about it. Don't invest money in a central kitchen till the time you're ready.
In terms of?
In terms of your total number of stores that you're running.
Okay.
So when you have volume, so central kitchen is an animal. Okay, you have to feed that animal with volume. If you are unable to feed that with volume, it will eat you up. That is the funda of a central kitchen. At least from our understanding, we are very clear that we'll guide you right. I will not, or Opstra does not pick up a project just because you want to build something. I will understand your requirement and I will guide you right. Like for brick oven pizza, we said you need a central kitchen and let us fix this for you, and we are building that kitchen now. And they like this thought process so much, okay, that now they come back कि मेरा रेस्टोरेंट भी डिजाइन कर दो आप.
Okay.
वो भी करते हैं. अब मैंने बोला कि मैं रेस्टोरेंट नहीं करता हूँ, लेकिन उनके लिए करते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव अ ट्रस्ट इन अस. दे सेइंग अगर ऑप्स्ट्रा से आया है, मेरा वो छोटा वाला किचन भी इन्हीं को दे दो, ये ऑप्टिमाइज कर लेंगे, मेरी जगह बचा देंगे, मेरा ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसी अच्छी हो जाएगी एंड आई डोंट हैव टू ब्रेक माय हेड ऑन गेटिंग द एग्जीक्यूशन डन, बिकॉज ये ड्राइंग डेटा हमें इतना दे देंगे कि हमें उस पर टाइम कम लगेगा हमारा। तो उनका सेंट्रल किचन भी बना रहे हैं, राइट। एक कस्टमर था जिसकी प्रॉब्लम थी, उसको बोलो कि आप सेंट्रल किचन बनाओ। एक कस्टमर जो सेंट्रल किचन बनाना चाहता था बोला कि आपको हमें हायर करने की जरूरत नहीं है, राइट। आप अपने नंबर ऑफ स्टोर जोड़ो, थोड़ी बहुत चीजें हम बता रहे हैं, आप उसको स्ट्रीमलाइन कर लो, यू डोंट इवन नीड टू पे अस, go and execute. That kind of transparency that you talk about when I do my work. A lot of cafes come to us कि design कर दो. Then we tell them that your volume is or the size is not big enough
So
for.
now when they approach you, just for the moment, like you continue. Now when they approach you, they approach you for the restaurant design or the kitchen design itself?
Most of the people come to us for the kitchen design. Very less people come to us for restaurant design, because if during the discussion if we gauge that the size is not enough, then we guide it to a kitchen equipment vendor.
Okay.
कि छोटा काम है, आप why will you spend money, आपका बजट छोटा होगा, राइट। सो यू गो टू अ किचन इक्विपमेंट, वो भी डिजाइन कर सकते हैं ना, इक्विपमेंट्स लगाने, छोटा मोटा काम इनपुट लेना हमसे ले लेना। सो दैट वे वी आर नॉट सेइंग दैट पे मी फॉर एवरीथिंग, राइट। सेइंग इफ like you when you go and meet a doctor every time there is a prescription, not like that. If I feel that you need me, okay, not many people come to us that saying that we don't have budget too high. I said, okay, what is your ambition, what do you want to do? And if you ask me, actually if somebody is talking about restaurant business, we discourage them not to open a restaurant business to extent कि मत खोलो. If you don't know food business, don't get into. The idea of this is that if they are really serious, okay, they'll come back again. That is the time you can guide them. The failure rate in restaurant business is about 80%. So that is why around you, whether Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, every time you see a new restaurant open and it closes out in some time. They have not done their maths right. They have not done their positioning right. They have not done their food right. They have not done their service right. Best of the food, lip smacking food, they will close within 1 year because they have not figured the other things right. Best of the locations, food restaurant closes in like 1 year, 6 months. They have not understood the importance of the training that they have to give to their team and the amount of respect that they should give to their team. They all think that it is a donkey's job. वो शेफ है, वो काम कर
That's what
लेगा.
I was started with. कि किचन कंसल्टेंट का या फिर किसी भी उस व्यक्ति का इम्पोर्टेंस, जो जिसका काम है, अगर आप उससे नहीं करवा रहे हो, then I feel that you are bleeding your money.
Not always. See, कितनी बार ऐसा होता है कि शेफ्स हैं. See, they're very talented bunch of people. Okay, very, very talented. I've got a immense respect for what chefs bring it to a table, including in a kitchen design. In fact, हमारी kitchen design में अगर सामने, if you are a chef as a client to me, you are adding value to your kitchen. At the same time, I am also learning.
Of course, I completely agree with you. Because your design requires a chef involvement.
Yeah. So, again, yes and no both. जरूरी नहीं है कि मेरे को शेफ दो. आप मुझे ये भी बता दो कि आपको क्या मेन्यू है,
हाँ,
क्या वॉल्यूम आप करना
तो
है.
आपके पास किस स्टेज पे आना चाहिए?
हमारे पास जब आप सोच रहे हो तब आ जाओ.
ठीक है. Even before finalizing the space.
Even before finally, yes, because then I'll be able to size that space.
Yes.
अगर आप मुझे बोलेंगे कि स्वर्ण, मुझे 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट का किचन बना रहा हूं एंड कितना बजट आएगा, तो ऑब्स्ट्रा वर्क्स डिफरेंटली. ऐसे करने क्या वाले हो यहाँ पे, 10,000 तो बोल तो दिया, क्यों बना रहे हो इतना बड़ा किचन, कितना फूड बनाना है आपको, किस तरह का फूड बनाना है आपको, ये फूड अपने लिए बना रहे हो, किसी और के लिए बना रहे हो, B2B है या B2C है, अपने रेस्टोरेंट्स के लिए बना रहे हो या किसी को सप्लाई करने के लिए बना रहे हो. जब तक आपने वॉल्यूम और कैटेगरी
डिफाइन
नहीं किया, यू विल ब्लीड लाइक एनीथिंग.
ओके.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब आपका जैसे पेपर एंड पाई का मैंने एग्जाम्पल दिया था, अब उनका लोड उतना नहीं है, उन्होंने सेंट्रल किचन खोल लेते, करोड़ों रुपए लगा देते हैं. जगह देखते हैं। अब उस जगह को मैनेज करने के लिए आपको आदमी चाहिए, उसका एक ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट है, ऑपेक्स बोलते हैं हम, केपेक्स है, उसमें आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे ना। अब वो अगर सेंट्रल किचन खोल लेते तो दे डिड नॉट इवन वुड हैव लेफ्ट विथ मनी टू ओपन न्यू स्टोर्स फॉर देम, बिकॉज सारा पैसा वहां ला के
वहां
बैठ
लग
जाता है,
जाता ऑफ कोर्स.
जिसकी उनको जरूरत नहीं है। एट टाइम्स वी ऑल्सो टेल पीपल हु कम विद दिस काइंड ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट कि थोड़े दिन के लिए आउटसोर्स कर लो, आप अपनी रेसिपी दो, एनडीए साइन करो, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ बी टू बी प्लेयर्स हु कैन डू मैनेज योर सेम
पायलट मोड
सिनेरियो,
पे.
पायलट मोड पे कर लो। तो उससे आपका भी कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा, यू विल बी एबल टू see that you know what you've been able to do with your concept that you want to do. Okay, so kitchen consultant का role is beyond only designing the kitchen, he also understands your requirement. अब जैसे this is the room, you know, a 200 square feet room. If I have to just design saying that you know इसमें racks लगाना है, store बनाना है इसका, I should know ना कि कितना load मुझे यहाँ पे load करना है, what is the volume of the food that I want to keep in, or raw material I want to keep in my store. How does one raw material becomes a contaminant for the other food? Like a seafood is a contaminant to other food because there is allergic. You know, a lot of people die with seafood. If I am allergic to seafood, okay, although it's meat, but if this contamination happen, you're dead. Simple example of nuts. Nuts, as much as all of us love eating, people die eating nuts. People who are allergic to nuts, they'll die, they'll choke. Any form of nut goes into any form of your food, you will die. You will choke and you will die. आपके generally the raw material level at raw materials are hydroscopic in nature. Flour is hydroscopic in nature. Your rice is hydroscopic in nature. Coffee is the most hydroscopic product that you know of. That is why we keep them in sealed containers. आपके हवा में एटमॉस्फेयर में ह्यूमिडिटी है, केमिकल है,
It is gone for a stride.
it is straight away will attract the that
Moisture.
flavor, that aroma, that moisture in your food.
Of course.
So that is why when you drink a coffee made in a ice cream parlor, it will taste vanilla to you,
Now you have the secret, huh?
right? Like that, there are many things, right? Allergens, sizing of those stores, keeping those allergen separately so that गलती से भी किसी से मिक्स ना हो, right? वेज नॉन वेज का सेग्रीगेशन कैसे कर रहे हैं आप, right? So not hypothetical, real. ये नहीं कि hypothetical यहीं पे बना लेते हैं, सुबह ये कर लेंगे, शाम को ये कर लेंगे, नहीं. People who are vegetarian, at least in India, right? You must and should be 100% pure to ensure that when you're saying that you know your veg or non-veg is being prepared independently, it should be prepared independently. It's like cheating yourself, cheating your business, right? Because my customer, he's a vegetarian, understand? And he's not vegetarian, he's maybe a religious vegetarian. It's not like you and me, one day we eat, one day we don't eat. There are people who care for their Jains. How do we not take care of the sentiments of those people who are coming into my restaurant? That is why you see in new age time, a lot of new veg restaurants are coming up with new concepts. You know, because vegetarians are not getting enough option and the confidence to eat out.
Exactly. The confidence is missing. Even if they say that it is a contemporary fine dining comprising of both veg and non-veg, even if the restaurant owner says that you know veg is segregated, non-veg is segregated, both the practices are different, but then confidence is lost at some point in time.
My wife is a vegetarian. Okay, I eat. Then I have to choose a restaurant to eat where she is assured of कि veg non-veg अलग-अलग बन रहा है. Otherwise, she doesn't eat. Now, what does it lead to? If a restaurant is unable to give this confidence to a customer, he's losing business, right?
Of course.
So the more confidence I give it to the customer, more customers I attract.
Exactly.
Okay, and this has to be done and given. This is a due to the industry, at least in India. Overseas वेज नॉन वेज का कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, तो मैटर नहीं करता, लेकिन हमारे लिए मैटर करना चाहिए. इनफैक्ट अगर आप नो बिजनेस should be done on a pillar of hiding informations. Be open. You know, that is why some of these guys McDonald's, KFCs and all, you like them, right? पूरा किचन सामने है, आपको दिखाई दे रहा है वेज में
No
क्या रहा, नॉन
hidden
वेज क्या रहा.
practice.
नो हिडन प्रैक्टिस. आई एम अ ग्रेट admirer of open kitchens.
Where everything is transparent.
Everything is transparent. You can see, you can build your confidence. It has other significance also. We eat from all our senses. We don't only eat from our.
So when you see your order being cooked in front of you, that also ignites more
Yes.
hunger to you.
You can see your food. That means your mouth will start salivating. You can smell little bit of that food, right? So
And
you'll
you
feel
can
nice.
be patient also.
You can
कि
be
मेरा
patient
खाना
also.
बन रहा है.
बन रहा है, यही बन रहा है,
हाँ.
कहीं और से आके नहीं आ रहा, फ्रेश बन रहा है.
No false promises.
No false promises. जो है सामने है.
बिल्कुल.
If you don't like us, don't eat with us. I mean,
Yeah.
in a way. So
Of course that वो यही बताना चाहते हैं ना आपको.
आज today it's even more due today. You know why? Because the food that you eat, especially when you order at home, you don't know from what God forsaken garage that food was made. Garage, I'm using the word. In fact, the situations are worst. आपको टेस्टी लग सकता है वो खाना, लेकिन अगर कभी आपने जाके देखा उसको, राइट, आप भगवान का नाम लेके कभी नहीं जाओगे वहाँ. If you just see the condition of, where the food was being cooked.
Is there any governing authority also to validate such kind of practices?
On papers, yes, it is, but in actual, it is not.
Okay. Now let me come to the point that when you entered into this business, and for somebody who wants to enter, like हर एक के दिमाग की creativity होती है and कोई अपना avenue भी निकाल सकता है इसके अंदर से. अगर एक किचन कंसल्टेंट बनना है या रेस्टोरेंट कंसल्टेंट बनना है इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइनिंग एंड कंसेप्चुअलाइजिंग द किचन, तो क्या क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है? वेयर डू दे नीड टू शार्प देयर स्किल्स?
They must and should know how a kitchen operates.
Prior experience?
Not necessarily that they have to go into detail of every single bit. Now, he doesn't have to understand how an Indian kitchen works vis-a-vis how a Oriental kitchen works, vis-a-vis how a Italian kitchen works. But he must and should have the understanding of, how these operations are working, and these skills are also acquirable. You can acquire on them.
कोई भी 5 ऐसी चीजें जो आपको लगता हो कि ये कंसल्टेंट के लिए मस्ट है, ये जानने के लिए कि अगर वो कल कंसल्टेंसी करते हैं, क्लाइंट से मिलते हैं या ऑलरेडी एक एस्टैब्लिश्ड स्पेस को रिस्ट्रक्चर करना है, सो व्हाट आर दोज टिक मार्क्स इन द बॉक्सेस?
सबसे पहले तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आप कितना फूड बना रहे हैं वहां पे,
ठीक है,
वॉल्यूम के टर्म्स में. सेकंड, आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आप वहां पे क्या बना रहे हैं, कौन सी क्यूजीन है,
ठीक है,
आपके लिए. थर्ड, हमारे पास स्पेस कितना अवेलेबल है.
ठीक है.
फोर्थ, क्या मेरा कोई फ्यूचर एस्पिरेशन है. लाइक कितनी बार लोग बोलते हैं कि मुझे फ्यूचरिस्टिक किचन चाहिए. सो आज कोई शुरू कर रहा है, वी गाइड देम टुडे आल्सो दैट आई वांट टू ओपन अ किचन which will take care of my current requirement. It also takes care of my future requirement. But many a times the kitchen consultants don't ask that question. We ask that question कि कोई future expansion है आपका?
क्यों नहीं पूछते?
जल्दी में मिल गया है, डिजाइन कीजिए, आगे बढ़िए, you take care.
Okay.
We ask these questions because if we know these questions today, आपका पैसा बचा लेंगे हम, आज का भी और कल का भी. आपको आज बोलेंगे आपके लिए स्पेस प्लानिंग तो हमने कर दिया है. देखिए, जब आपका किचन बन गया है तो आपकी दीवार खड़ी हो चुकी है, राइट, आपका ड्रेनेज सिस्टम बन चुका है, आपका एग्जॉस्ट सिस्टम बन चुका है, आप इक्विपमेंट आप लगा सकते हैं, राइट, जिसके लिए हमने जगह छोड़ दिया है, राइट. हमने प्लान कर लिया कि आपको ये इक्विपमेंट चाहिए था, आपको 2 ये चाहिए, आज एक खरीदो. जब आप करोगे तो हमने जगह छोड़ा हुआ है, उसके लिए आपके इलेक्ट्रिकल पॉइंट्स छोड़े हुए हैं, उसके लिए आपका ड्रेन सिस्टम बनाया हुआ है, वाटर का इनलेट डाला हुआ है वहाँ पे. आपके लिए वो प्लग एंड प्ले है. टुमारो कल आपको ऐड करना है, आप इक्विपमेंट खरीद के लगाइए, एंड यू डोंट हैव टू ब्रेक एनीथिंग, कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं करना आपको. आपका केपेक्स डिफर हो गया बिकॉज आपने आज एक ही इक्विपमेंट के लिए खर्च किया. दूसरा, in a running operations it is very difficult for you to construct anything because you're dealing with food. You can't do thoda fadi and all that, right? You can't.
I was just going to ask that question कि अगर आपके पास कोई existing आता है कि I am facing certain kind of a problem. Yeah, yeah, meri aspiration and next. How do you react to that? And how successful is that restructuring?
Restructuring is actually uh, it is a game that has to be explained to a customers or a client, and that we explain that. What is important in this is that we do not encourage them to do this restructuring in a running business, right? अगर आप एक रनिंग रेस्टोरेंट कर रहे हो और उसमें आप रिस्ट्रक्चर करना चाहते हो, ऐसे नथिंग आप ड्राइंग कर लो, प्लानिंग कर लो, कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए कुछ दिन बंद कर लो आप।
ठीक है.
नहीं तो क्या होगा, रनिंग ऑपरेशंस में योर एग्जिस्टिंग सर्विस विल सफर, you will not be able to construct a kitchen that you actually want to construct. Okay, so हम हमेशा बोलते हैं कि आप बंद कर लीजिए, उसके बाद आप रिनोवेशन कर लीजिए और सारा प्लानिंग कर लीजिए, सारा ड्राइंग बना लीजिए, so that your whatever break time, whatever days that we choose, faster construction can happen.
So that you also have an open arm to
Yes,
execute.
but in these cases we do not like doing renovations. Why? Because most of the time my client who's sitting in front of me, he is saying नहीं मैं दुकान तो बंद नहीं करूँगा. तो हम उनको बोलते हैं अगर आप दुकान बंद नहीं करेंगे तो शायद मैं आपके लिए डिज़ाइन नहीं कर पाऊंगा, क्योंकि मैं जो भी डिज़ाइन करूँगा, सी अल्टीमेटली मेरा यूज़र सिर्फ वो कस्टमर नहीं है, वो कस्टमर तो है जो हु इज पेइंग मी, बट वो ऑपरेटर ही है हु इज वर्किंग देयर, राइट? एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन, किचन कंस्ट्रक्शन इज एन अमालगमेशन ऑफ इक्विपमेंट्स, सिविल, infra, fire safety, the people safety that I keep talking about, and these are the principal parameters for us to design a kitchen.
And where do the investor or the client or whosoever pays you, I'm sure this is the business, they might have asked you, where do they compromise? And where you don't?
Safety and hygiene, no compromise.
You do not compromise.
We do not compromise. We
Okay.
do not let them also compromise.
Chalo,
And if
theek
they
hai.
ask us to compromise, then we pull. I said, then we are not the consultants for you. We walk out.
So when you both are on the same page, then only you can
That's
execute.
right. So when we meet, we say that we design kitchen on basic these principles: operations friendliness, safety, hygiene, and your whatever the laws that is there, national building code, your fire separation, fire safety norms, all that we put in that. If you are following that, then I'm designing. Otherwise, I'm not designing, because that is my, as I said in the beginning, life safety and food safety is my priority. That's number one for me. And then operations friendliness, of course, it is there.
And are there any certificates or kind of authoritativeness or something governing bodies that gives you the certificate of an ideal kitchen, like adequate fire exits or drainage systems or any kind of those things?
There are high level rules which has been put for you to follow,
And
but it's not
anybody
hard
checks
coded.
that
I'm
on the
sorry,
checklist?
nobody checks that. There's only one check that happens. They can come for an audit, but they really don't check and check. But when you're doing a large infra, so then you will run your designs and drawing through a fire safety consultant to ensure that you are following those fire safety norms,
Okay.
right? So designing of those fire separation systems, to designing your corridors in a way, fire exits at places, so that at this parameter or this much of a length you should have a fire exit, so that in case there is a fire they go out. A fire separation system or a fire sprinkler system in non-fire areas also. These are just guiding rules that has been written for you. Okay, so we follow those guiding rules to ensure that we are following that. But to answer your question, somebody comes and checks that. Unless it is a large establishment, no.
What is a large establishment?
Hotel,
Okay.
large central kitchen, like a bakery or a place whereas you are creating food for more than 1,000 people is a large kitchen. It requires 3, 4, 5
Airline caterings?
airline caterings, yes. So large kitchens, central kitchens, a kitchen which is supplying to multiple kitchens.
By the time you have completed a project to a certain client or something, do you revisit that on your calendar or a scheduled visit that everything is going fine, or just you have completed the project?
So we were not putting this as a point of agenda when we started. But then we realized that how these processes are important for us to do. So of course those periodic inspection happens of during the construction when it is happening. And 2 years ago, we also did a complete ISO certification for our own firm.
I was going to ask that. I just came across that post of ISO 9001.
That's right.
So, what is that and how it is important and what's the role of that certification?
See, if you ask me, ISO, what does that ISO teach you? Irrespective of which business, which domain you're into, ISO teaches you to have a mechanism by which you can check and go back and see what documentations you had for which process. Like ISO will teach you what is your step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4, because these guys will, when they come for audit, they check whether you are following with every single process that you have decided for yourself, like from customer acquisitions to project selection to material selection to your process that you've done. And at the end, this is your answer to the question that you asked, also a feedback from a customer. Right? So for us, no project closes till the time we have got a feedback from the customer,
Okay.
and which goes project by project into our files. So I've finished a project for, let's say, Brick-Oven Pizza. So there'll be a sign off from them. We will collect the sign off from the kitchen equipment vendor because he would have supplied all the equipment. So he would have taken a sign off from. We'll take that. We'll go to the client. We'll check how well we did. Is everything is fine, or any feedback that was there for our own introspection. That also gets noted, and we go and work on that. So documentation is the only thing that you will learn in ISO certification, and if you keep implementing that,
And how important that is?
it is very important. It has helped us. I'm not even talking about what happens outside. It has helped us in doing our project deliverables of a very, very high standards.
Oh,
Because now our team comes and asks that how much will be my increment, how much will be my
so
incentive.
that is kind of
Everything is
empowering.
So they are empowered, and they are also in my team. They're allowed to do mistakes. They're not allowed to repeat the mistake, but they're allowed to do mistake. Repeating a mistake is a stupidity. But if they have done a mistake, maybe because of ignorance or maybe because of lack of knowledge, we train. Ignorance, we warn. Okay, but we see to it that the mistakes are not being repeated.
With which background can a person join your team, and what do you look for in the team members?
That question is not that easy to answer because it's a business for us, and there are different domains in our business.
That is what I'm trying
Marketing.
to decode, because it is completely a different genre that we are talking about, because it has altogether come up and flourished in a time span of about those 10 years that you have started Opstra and everything, कि इसमें कोई कैसे अपने आप को फ्लरिश कर सकता है. एंड इट इज एज स्ट्रेट एज कि अगर मुझे बनना है तो मुझे आपके साथ रहना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज मार्केट में कोई और इतना वाइडली अवेलेबल नहीं है ना. तो बिकॉज आर HM कॉलेज डजंट टीच दिस, नो शेफ वुड आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. वो आपके साथ काम कर रहा होगा बट ही वुड नॉट आंसर मी. सो दिस प्लेटफॉर्म आई जस्ट वांट टू कनेक्ट पीपल विद यू, दैट कि आप कैसे कर सकते हैं और एक किचन कंसल्टेंट की टीम कैसे साउंड करती है.
जनरली, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि इट इज नॉट अ प्रोफेशन विच इज रेडली अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट फॉर यू.
एग्जैक्टली.
सो कंसल्टेंट से वो इंफॉर्मेशन अपने पास रोक के रखते हैं, और टीम मेंबर फ्रेश और 1-2-3 साल के एक्सपीरियंस वाले हु इज वर्कड इन अ होटल एंड ऑल दैट, जिसको समझ में आए कि भाई कॉम्बी ओवन क्या होता है, विजा विज वर्किंग टेबल सिंक क्या होता है, हाउ थिंग्स वर्क. So they hire them and train them for doing design, documents, mathematics. That there is a lot of engineering stuff that happens in the kitchen designing. आपका एयर कैलकुलेशन है, सर्कुलेशन है, पानी का रिक्वायरमेंट.
तो ये आप सीख जाते हो ओवर द टाइम या फिर इसके लिए प्रॉब्लम होता है? You need to hire somebody.
नहीं, लोग सीख जाते हैं. हम ऑल्सो फ्रेशर हायर कर लेते हैं who can draw.
Okay.
Okay, so two kind of people that we hire, and this hiring I'm only talking about the operation side of my business.
Hmm.
Okay, one is that somebody who knows how to draw. Okay, then I bring him up and teach my mathematical and other kitchen stuff that is required for him to be able to draw. He can work with a project manager because project manager का who's already experienced, he knows किचन में कैसे काम होता है, इस तरह का किचन का डिजाइन कैसे बनेगा, क्वेश्चन क्या क्या पूछना है.
इसका कोई कोर्स भी होता है?
एक हमारे चैप्टर था, आई डोंट नो वेदर इट वाज देयर, कॉल्ड फैसिलिटी प्लानिंग. एक चैप्टर था हमारे समय तो था. कभी क्लास गए नहीं हम, कभी अटेंड नहीं
नहीं,
किया.
मैं गया था पर ये चैप्टर नहीं था,
नहीं, फैसिलिटी प्लानिंग का
क्योंकि
पूरी
हमारे टाइम पे फोकस शिफ्ट हुआ था एचआरएम, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट एंड मार्केटिंग.
फैसिलिटी प्लानिंग का चैप्टर था हमारे टाइम में.
अच्छा.
कभी क्लास हुई नहीं, कभी हमने किया नहीं, लेकिन एक चैप्टर था.
उस टाइम आप अवेलेबल नहीं थे ना एज एन and
नहीं,
I
ऐसा
would
नहीं था.
and I would take this in a serious stride that people should more and more you should come out with your experiences to teach the new budding hoteliers that how important it is. Because after passing those 3 years, ये आजकल जो short term courses होते हैं, people should learn, because everybody is now with their entrepreneurial minds that you want to start with their own startups and everything. So people should know that how it is important to inculcate such kind of consultancies, technologies, and a clear mindset of establishment कैसे होती है. मेरे पास नहीं थी, इसलिए ये पॉडकास्ट मेरे लिए भी एक बहुत आई ओपनर है. इसलिए इतने सवाल ऑर्गेनिकली आ रहे हैं. यू सी, आई डोंट हैव पेन एंड अ पेपर एंड आई जॉट डाउन हियर. बट देन आई ऑलवेज फील कि जितनी एजुकेशन मैं आपसे ले पाऊँ टू एजुकेट माई सेल्फ अकॉर्डिंग विद माई व्यूअर्स, इट वुड बी जस्ट ग्रेट. That is why the question was for the team that who can join you.
Anybody who wants to experience who has some knowledge of how a restaurant works, okay, who has little bit of zeal towards drawing, is an apt product for you.
Okay.
राइट. सो हम ऐसे भी बोलते हैं कि बहुत सारे शेफ्स हैं हु पिक अप शेफ एज अ करियर, बट 1-2 साल में उनको पता चलता है कि इट्स नॉट माय कप ऑफ टी. आइडियल कैंडिडेट है बिकॉज उसको काम पता है लेकिन वो करना नहीं चाहता है. लेकिन वो वैल्यू बहुत ऐड कर सकता है.
Because he has been through.
ही हैज बीन थ्रू. उसको पता है कि वहां क्या हो रहा है और उसको समझने की जरूरत नहीं. तब उसको बोलेगा कि अच्छा, मैं ये ज्ञान देने का भी काम कर सकता हूँ. उसको फिर ड्राइंग सीखनी है, जो सीख लेगा, मतलब कोई ऐसी रॉकेट साइंस तो है नहीं, वो सीख लेगा, वो कर देगा. सो फ्रेशर्स काम आ सकते हैं. आपके इंटीरियर डिजाइनर्स को भी ये काम सिखाया जा सकता है. लेट्स से somebody who's done an interior designing course who wants to become a kitchen consultant can learn, because he doesn't have to इंच और फीट समझने में जरूरत नहीं है. जब मैं आया था इस बिजनेस में तो मुझे और फीट में कन्वर्जन करने में ही बहुत टाइम लगता था, बिकॉज जनरली जो ऑपरेटर्स होते थे वो फीट में बात करते थे.
Okay.
और जो डिजाइनर्स होते थे वो मीटर और में बात करते थे. तो वो कैलकुलेशन कन्वर्जन करना ही उस समय एक अपने आप में एक चैलेंज था. सो आपका थोड़ा बहुत भी इंटरेस्ट हुआ इसमें, okay, you will flourish, and it is a career that people can pick up like anything.
Exactly.
When I'm talking about kitchen consulting, there is a great requirement for somebody who can do the back of the house and front of the house consulting both. Let's say for an example of restaurant design जो आपने पूछा पहले. अब रेस्टोरेंट का क्या है कि दे विल हायर अ इंटीरियर डिजाइनर बट दे विल नॉट हायर अ किचन कंसल्टेंट, ऑल्दो दे नीड. सो एक आदमी अगर उनका दोनों काम कर सकता है, इट्स अ ग्रेट बिजनेस टू बी इन. ही अंडरस्टैंड्स ऑपरेशंस, उसको पता है किचन कैसे डिजाइन होता है, सारे एलिमेंट्स उसको आते हैं. ही हैज टू बी लिटिल मोर क्रिएटिव इन नोइंग द लाइट्स एंड मूड्स एंड हाइट्स and aesthetic side of it, and create a concept, because restaurant business is a concept, right from the logo to the lighting.
You
to
have
the
to
kitchen.
make your thought into an existence.
Absolutely.
That is what we are into in 2026.
Yeah.
Now tell me, like, what is that one kitchen design that has fascinated you? इतने सालों में कितनी किचन्स आपने बनाई होंगी, आपने देखी भी होंगी. एक किचन डिजाइन जो आपको लगता हो कि you were mesmerized by seeing the everything, duct, drainage, or whatsoever the concept was. Anything that you like to say? इंडिया में देखी, बाहर देखी, किसी
एक
स्टेट में
किचन हम नहीं
देखी?
बनाए, उसका नाम नहीं ले सकता मैं।
नहीं नहीं, ले लो प्लीज।
नहीं ले सकते because that is an NDA which is there with the client. One of the biggest kitchen that we've done, you know, for a company which is spreads across 2 lakh square feet. I was talking about 1,40,000 meals per day. It has a producing. It is a frozen food manufacturing unit. It is fascinating to see the volume of activities which is happening here and how one area is connected to the other area. You know how a simple 500 square feet of an area where there's no activity is happening, that you can't see things happening, but during the operations all those areas become important for you. That was the same project where we learned actual refrigeration, how it happens, because it's a frozen food factory. We all put refrigerators, right? We all put walk-in chillers, but there the walk-in chillers also was 30,000 square feet. So we learned that for us to be able to design a refrigeration, you have to do the heat load calculation. आप उसके अंदर कितना माल रख रहे हैं, कितनी देर के लिए रख रहे हैं, कितनी फ्रीक्वेंसी पे वो डोर ओपन कर रहा है, दैट विल डिसाइड द रेफ्रिजरेशन दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर दैट रूम टू बी रीचिंग टू दैट टेम्परेचर. First time we learned in that project that you know how temperature breakage of 2 to 3 degrees actually the food goes through abuse, because जो फूड में अब्यूज यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर ड्रॉप के हुआ है, ये शायद 3 महीने बाद किसी कस्टमर के प्लेट में पता चलेगा कि वो क्रॉसो सही बनी कि नहीं बनी.
This is I vouch for these technicalities. प्लेट पे खाना कभी ऐसे नहीं आता, उसमें लाखों लोगों की मेहनत लगती है, उसमें माइंड्स लगते हैं, उसमें कितनी रातें, कितनी ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग लगती है. दिस इज समथिंग वेरी फैसिनेटिंग एंड वेरी टेक्निकल पॉइंट. आप मुझे ये बताओ, इतने टाइम स्पैन में देयर आर मिस्टेक्स आल्सो. कभी कोई ऐसा हुआ है कि ओवर कमिट करा हो एंड दैट जस्ट डिड नॉट फॉल इन योर प्लेस?
ओवर कमिट तो नहीं था ये. इन द इनिशियल पार्ट ऑफ आवर जर्नी वी लर्नड इट द हार्ड वे. अगेन विल नॉट नेम द क्लाइंट, but this will answer two of your questions, that what we did is a mistake and how we corrected it or what action we took. So lot many times when we do a work of a kitchen consultant, the people come to you to say that यहाँ पे MEP डिजाइन भी आप कर दो, मतलब मैकेनिकल इलेक्ट्रिक पम्पिंग, उसके लिए भी एक कंसल्टेंट लगता है ना किचन सेटअप. वी आर नॉट एक्सपर्ट्स ऑफ दैट. उसी में एक LPG कंसल्टेंट भी लगता है फॉर द सेटअप, जो डिसाइड करता है कि मैनीफोल्ड कैसे बनेगा. हमने साइज बता दिया है, आपको रिक्वायरमेंट्स बता दिया है, और when we started we had not too much of work to do, right? So एक क्लाइंट था जिसके लिए हम किचन तो ऑफ कोर्स डिजाइन कर रहे थे. उन्होंने बोला कि यहाँ की गैस कंसल्टिंग भी आप कर दो. तो हमने उनको बोला कि दिस इज नॉट आवर एक्सपर्टीज एंड वी डोंट थिंक विल बी एबल टू टेक इट अप. But they were so adamant to hire somebody under you because we don't want to release another PO to somebody else. And of course, you top it up with your
expertise.
Fee.
Oh.
उसका जो फीस है उस पर टॉप करो. आपको पैसा चाहिए ना, मैं दूसरा वेंडर क्रिएट नहीं कर सकता. वो सिंपल एग्जांपल था, बड़ा लार्ज MNC था. तो हमने बोला चलो we'll take somebody under us and we will make our money, और उसको पे करना है, मतलब कितने क्या. Happened what, that consultant was not up to the mark that we picked up. Okay.
Where did you go wrong?
We trusted that consultant for doing the job that how he was being hired for, and there was a team member from our side who was coordinating all this, right?
Okay. तो आपने आउटसोर्स करा कंसल्टेंट?
ऑफ कोर्स यही डील हुई थी कि हम आउटसोर्स करेंगे, पैसे आपके पास आएंगे, और हमने ये किया. और इस प्रोसेस में you know some mistakes was from our team member also, that he did not get into detail of thing, and it happened. इतने सारे चीजें हो रही चली गई, and during construction it bounced back to us. Of course we said sorry, we accepted our mistake, did not penalize my team member for it, okay, and say कि हम अपने स्कोप से ज्यादा कभी काम नहीं करेंगे. So as a consultant,
very important to डिफाइन.
अपना क्या है कि अपनी बाउंड्री लेके चलना बहुत अच्छी बात है, राइट? तो कितनी बार आपको नॉलेज होती है, बट अगर आपके डोमेन में नहीं है तो don't think you should just step into somebody else's domain because it is not your domain. आप बातें बहुत कर सकते हो, but something which is not your domain, and construction, kitchen designing, MEP designing, a kitchen comes alive with an amalgamation of all of that. Civil, structure, load bearing capacity, hiding of those electrical lines which is running to the safety on the gas lines that we put in, sizing those manifold, following those NBC. There are many things that go into. So it is good to let the customer know, even if it is coming at a cost of you earning less money, that's okay. But don't step into another expertise that is not your expertise.
Exactly.
Okay? Do what you're good at, keep learning.
Again, a learning that, limit. I'm not saying in other words, but always define a fine line for yourself.
That's right. And we did that. We learned the hard way. Okay. That was how many? 7 years ago. Okay. We have never repeated these kind of. Recently, somebody came to me for a 50,000 square feet kitchen. 50,000
50,000
square feet kitchen. बोलते हैं कि सब कर लो आप, कितना पैसा लोगे? हमने बोला पैसों का सर मामला ही नहीं है, ये हमारे बस की नहीं है. हमारे बस की है, आप मुझे हायर करो, एक दो कंसल्टेंट जो और आपको चाहिए, आप MEP कंसल्टेंट हायर करो, आप एक सिविक कंसल्टेंट हायर करो, और या एक आर्किटेक्ट या हायर करो, तब ये आपका हो जाएगा. लेकिन आप अगर मुझसे एक्सपेक्ट करते हो कि मैं अपने से अदर एक्सपर्टीज को हायर करके अपने अंदर काम कराऊंगा, उनके डॉक्यूमेंट्स पे मैं कैसे साइन करूंगा बताइए आप मुझे, right? Because when I am hiring somebody under me, so that means I am signing his documents, right? If he is not good at his work, my work will get challenged. Now, being independent consultants, we can challenge each other. मुझे तो यही चाहिए, because ये मेरा किचन का रिक्वायरमेंट है. He may come up with a challenge
that you are not aware of.
That you are not aware of, or at times you are aware of. बोला कि नहीं होगा, हम बोलेंगे कि हमें ये चाहिए, ये नॉन कॉम्प्रोमाइजेबल है. लेकिन अगर मैं दोनों काम कर रहा हूँ ना, तो मैं थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लूंगा. कितनी बार क्लाइंट को पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ था, लेकिन मेरे बिलीफ सिस्टम में दैट डजंट फिट इन. सो आई रिमेन गुड विद व्हाट वी थिंक दैट वी आर गुड एट, एंड वी वांट टू रेस्ट्रिक्ट आवरसेल्व्स देयर.
तो आपको कोई भी अपना एग्जीक्यूशन इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए किन चीजों के साथ अपडेटेड रहना पड़ता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, किचन इक्विपमेंट्स, ovens, या जो भी इलेक्ट्रिकल अप्लायंसेस हैं, या फिर जो भी वॉल फिटिंग्स हैं, आपके लिए तो इट इज लाइक कंस्ट्रक्टिंग अ होल न्यू गैम्बल टुगेदर, लाइक अदर एक प्लैनेट ही बना रहे हो आप, राइट फ्रॉम सीमेंट, ब्रिक्स, सैंड, मड्स एंड एवरीथिंग. सो व्हाट ऑल गोज इनटू योर बुक ऑफ?
सी, सबसे पहले तो आपको सारे नॉर्म्स पता होने चाहिए.
ओके.
सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स क्या है,
इसमें लीगैलिटी क्या आती है, इफ इट इज देयर प्रेवलेंट इन योर बिजनेस?
कभी ऑडिट होगा तो आप जेल जाओगे.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
राइट. जैसे इस बिल्डिंग में कभी आग लगी, राइट, एक रूट कॉज एनालिसिस कभी ना कोई डिपार्टमेंट तो आगे बनाएगा,
बिल्कुल
वो
करेगा.
बताएगा कि यहाँ पे स्टेयर केस नहीं था, फायर एग्जिट स्टेयर केस नहीं था. Who will be the people who will be caught? The owners, architects and designers, and fire safety consultant. तीनों आएंगे, कौन था? Done.
ठीक है. Apart from this, what you were saying, please continue.
I'm sorry, I lost the track,
So the track was कि आपको किन चीज से अपडेटेड रहना होता
okay,
है.
so पहला है कि आपको
इंडस्ट्री में
norms
भी और
पते होने
इंडस्ट्री के
चाहिए.
बाद भी. ठीक है. नॉर्म्स.
आपको नॉर्म्स 100% पता होने चाहिए. आपको हमेशा अपग्रेड करते रहना पड़ता है अपने आप को.
वो एक्सरसाइज आप कैसे करते हो?
By going into exhibitions,
ठीक है.
by looking at videos, being a part of those food consultants like us, being a part of those seminars of what is happening, what is the learning, what is the new thing that has happened. These are the only things which is important. Otherwise, सेफ्टी नॉर्म वाइज कितना गैप चाहिए, तो आपको क्या चाहिए होता है कि एक जगह काम कैसे करेगा. ओके, सो डिफरेंट किचन के लिए डिफरेंट रूल्स अप्लाई होते हैं. दैट इज ओनली थिंग. इफ यू आर अपडेटेड अबाउट the rules and regulations, and keep updating on the new happening which is happening, and at times go and acquire that knowledge. For example, you may come back, like right now our team is learning a process called retort. Retort is a process by which the shelf life of a food is being extended on a room temperature for 1.5 years.
It is a new technology.
It is a new technology. It's not a new technology, but less used technology.
Okay.
So it is a game of pressure and temperature that happens with the food. Okay, and the food is as good as like आप खोलिए गरम हो रहे खाइए आपको पता नहीं चलेगा आपने क्या खाया.
And that
Right.
too 1.5 year of shelf life.
That's right.
Okay.
आपके आप पैकेट में आपके रहेगा वैक्यूम कूल्ड है. The day you're opening, you have to eat it. No problem.
As simple as
So
that.
basically, this is a Japanese technology. This was being developed somewhere in Second World War, if I'm right. So when the Second World War and the Japan was fighting and this army, they had to send them food to fight and all that. So that time they developed this technology.
Okay.
कि how to feed their army, which is remotely fighting wherever they're fighting. So they will carry their these foods or have those food drop. All they have to do is just kholo, garam karo, khao.
Very nice.
Right? You don't have to go through anything. So let us say, I'll give you an example of these food that you see on your shelf. Say something like ITC के आपको पैकेट्स मिल जाएंगे ready to heat.
MTR.
MTR के
ITC.
ready to make है. जैसे आप पानी
हाँ,
मिलाएंगे
pre-mix kind of a
pre-mix
thing.
kind of. जैसे आपके
हल्दीराम देता है.
हल्दीराम के मुझे याद नहीं है लेकिन ITC
नहीं,
का
हल्दीराम
definitely
is doing a lot in this packed
क्या
food.
करते हैं बताइए मुझे वो.
Like for example, dal chawal, rajma chawal, khadi chawal, you go just mix water, heat and ready
So
to
again
eat.
you're adding water. The process that I'm talking about is you're doing nothing.
Just it's like a Lay's packet you open
और आप
and
लोग
just
खाइए तो दो तरीके या तो ऐसे खा लीजिए लेकिन हम इंडियन वी ईट हॉट फूड. सो दो तरीके हैं. अगर वो सही पैकेजिंग हुई है तो आप गर्म पानी में डाल दीजिए उस पाउच को 5 मिनट निकालिए खाना गर्म हो गया खाइए. दूसरा तरीका है उसको माइक्रोवेव कर लीजिए. तीसरा तरीका पैन में डालिए गर्म कर लीजिए. कुछ करना नहीं है पानी नहीं मिलाना आपको कुछ भी ऐड नहीं करना है और डिलीट नहीं करना उसमें से.
okay.
आपको सिर्फ उसको
As it
प्रोसेस
is.
कर देना एज इट इज आपको यूज कर लीजिए. गुड
Very
एनफ.
nice.
दैट्स कॉल्ड इट. आज हम ये लर्न कर रहे हैं तो अगर हम ये स्टडी लर्न नहीं करेंगे हाउ विल वी सॉल्व टुमारोज प्रॉब्लम्स व्हाट फॉर सम अदर
You will be obsolete.
मोर देन ऑब्सोलीट. I'm not adding any value, right?
Of course.
Then the new consultant will come, they'll take my job.
Yes,
Right?
वो आप कभी होने नहीं दोगे.
Right? नहीं. We want consultants to come up. We are training our people. We, as much as we have a 14 people team sitting out of Bangalore, there is a target that we're working with our team.
Okay.
All these guys should become independent in the next 5 years. We have a target for making them financially free from their responsibility that they have and manage things on their own. If they want to work with us, great. But I've told them that, whatever we are doing with you guys, you will grow enough. We'll not be able to afford you at one time. Go and start something own.
Apart from all these, what we spoke about, what other things in life keeps you busy? What do you like the most? In person, roaming around, or what pensions do you have? Do you travel? You meet people? That's a part of your job as well, na? So what exactly?
I like being fit. Okay, mentally and bodily fit.
Okay.
So when we talk about fitness, we only talk about physical fitness. Is that what we do? I talk about mental and
Physical
fitness. Physical fitness, I do my regular yoga and all that. I can't live with that. And my exercise, even if I'm in traveling, doing my stuff, like I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, my half an hour of that work was being done to ensure that and I have the energy that I have right now.
Okay.
And I'll have the same energy till the time I've gone to bed. It will not die down. And your meditation and breathing helps you in keeping your mind alive.
What food do you like the most? Like you are always surrounded by kitchen. Food trials में भी लोग आपको कहते हैं please help us.
हेल्प नहीं बोलते बट जनरली बुला लेते हैं.
बुला लेते हैं.
कि आइए चलिए आप भी आ जाइए.
अच्छा ऐसा होता है कभी वो मोमेंट आया कि आपने एक बड़ा सुंदर सा किसी का करा डिजाइन 6 महीने बाद फॉर इंस्टेंस आप फैमिली के साथ खाना खाने जाते हैं वहां पे एंड देन यू सी कि यार जो बना के दिया था दैट दे आर नॉट पुटिंग इनटू द राइट यूज.
6 महीना थोड़ा कम होता है इस तरह के एक्सपीरियंस के लिए बट
अच्छा ऐसा हुआ है?
3 साल होता है. 2 से 3 साल में होगा
तो वो फीलिंग नहीं आती क्या मैंने बना के दिया था एंड दिस गाइज आर जस्ट
होता है. सो क्या होता है कि शुरू में ये बुरा लगता था. ओके तो आप एफर्ट लेते थे जाके बस आपको पता चला है कि वो एफर्ट इज अ वेस्ट ऑफ एफर्ट बिकॉज वहां का मैनेजमेंट ही चेंज कर गया है मेनी अ टाइम्स कि वो ऑपरेशंस टीम चेंज कर गई है. सो अब नई ऑपरेशन टीम आई सेम मशीन इज नॉट वर्किंग फॉर देम और समथिंग एल्स इज हैपनिंग. सो दैट इज अ थिंग. सो व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस so there only we work on I work on my physical and mental fitness. I play badminton. No compromise. Saturday, Sunday, 2 hours non-stop I can play. And that is, I'm 51 years old and I love playing. There's just no doubt about it. And if I'm not done my meditation, if I'm not done my those freehand exercises that I do, okay. If you come to my office, people do push-ups just like that. Anybody will anytime. It's a free environment that we have in our office. So we promote health. In fact, we pay for those clubs which is booked for my team to go and play,
Okay.
promoting those physical fitness activities,
Hmm.
right? And one question you asked, what is your favorite? Khichdi is my favorite food.
Very nice. उसका असर भी दिख रहा है. अच्छा एक बात बताओ, ये किसी को कंसल्टेंसी करवानी हो अगर, कितना बजट उसको लेके आना चाहिए आपके पास?
इसका कोई आंसर ही नहीं है मेरे पास. आपके पास
स्टार्टिंग बजट
नहीं हो सकता, कोई नंबर ही नहीं. कैसे बताऊंगा? हमारा ऐसा कोई बेंचमार्किंग है नहीं. मैं आपके लिए फ्री काम कर दूंगा. अगर मुझे ये लगा कि आप अपने एफर्ट में सिंसियर हो, आपके पास पैसे नहीं है, पैसे नहीं लेता मैं. ये तो 100% नहीं लेता. अगर आप सीरियस हो अपने फूड बिजनेस के लिए और आप बोलते हो कि स्वर्ण मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, मतलब कोई बात नहीं, आओ बैठो मेरे पास, बता दूंगा, लिख दूंगा, ड्राइंग बना दूंगा, चाहिए कभी प्रॉब्लम हो तो फ़ोन कर लीजिए. मैं आपके लिए शायद उतना फ्रीली अवेलेबल नहीं होगा, लेकिन इतना डेटा दे दूंगा, इतना डॉक्यूमेंट आपको दे दूंगा,
क्या आपको जरूरत नहीं
आपको
पड़ेगी.
शायद मेरे पास आने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी.
सो यू डू प्रोजेक्ट्स पैन इंडिया.
We do projects pan India. We also have done projects. Currently, also we're working in Nairobi. We're working in Durban. We are working in Middle Eastern countries,
Okay.
building some good kitchens of different types, of hotels, clubhouses,
Hospital also, like your bio mentioned, hospital kitchens.
Hospital is a very interesting thing for us. And in fact, I think we are the only organization right now who has an independent division
For hospital kitchens.
hospital kitchen design.
Might be
Because-
exciting.
Very, very exciting. So this is what I'm learning. Our learning is in that anywhere we see that, we can add value.
You just
Okay.
step in.
Not only step in, because we love learning. हमारी टीम ने रेफ्रिजरेशन सीखा, हमने रिटॉर्ट सीखा, हम एयर हैंडलिंग भी सीखने चले जाते हैं, हम वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट भी सीखने चले जाते हैं कि क्या होता है, नया क्या आ रहा है, कैसे हम बिजली बचा सकते हैं, कैसे हम पानी बचा सकते हैं. सस्टेनेबिलिटी का जो एंगल बोलते हैं, हमारा सबसे पहले सवाल ही होता है. तो जब हमारे यहाँ कोई भी जैसे इक्विपमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरर आता है, बोलता है कि हम ये करते हैं, ठीक है, वन ऑफ द, बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ तो आते ही रहते हैं. हमारे क्वेश्चंस, हमारे टीम के भी क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होते हैं, व्हाट आर वी सेविंग, क्लाइंट का कितना पैसा बचेगा, राइट. नाउ वी हैव मूव्ड आवरसेल्व्स टू मेड इन इंडिया. Lot of these imported equipment manufacturer where we are sitting today, they will not like it, but we are moving to make in India. In fact, we will move them one day to manufacture in India. Right? Why we cannot do this in India when we can produce missiles and arms and helicopters now? What is the rocket science in these?
You take the example of pasta itself. We're talking about food. Earlier we were importing. Now we are exporting a large percentage of pasta to the entire world.
Correct.
Same goes with the cheese.
Yes. And we have started competing. Our cheese has started competing.
Yes. In the Brazil itself, it happened.
That's right. Our whiskeys are coming up.
Thanks to
Indris,
Bollywood.
not only that, all Indris.
No, but
and,
Indris and all, I respect them. But now they have also stepped in. Na?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Make in India was a thought. Okay.
We are putting it to use.
We are putting, not only, I think it is a collective effort.
Yeah,
it is a
collectively.
responsibility.
Yes.
It is a responsibility that unless we start demanding, the change will not happen. It's like me choosing to throw the tissue out of my car or putting it in my pocket. Right? I would say that, oh, other guy is saying that I also should do. I said, no, let me put it in my pocket. I will throw. So the change will start. If I start demanding, at least my kid will learn. If not, everybody will learn. My kid will learn. The next generation will learn. And slowly, the change takes time in happening whenever it happens. But Make in India is the thing. Why not? It has to be done. Entire country is for that. We need more employment. We have got 140 crore people. We need
And
employment.
hospitality is such that after agriculture, it's the only industry that employs as much as it can.
It is irony is that we don't even have an industry status.
I agree to that point because whosoever has been on this couch says industry. Okay, now that you have pinned me on that nerve, so I would say that yes, you are absolutely right. We do not have any status as an industry
Correct.
because you are a person in your own industry and I'm industry in myself. So there is no collective industry like we
See,
talk about.
tourism has been given as an industry, but
Yeah.
hotel and food service doesn't have an industry per se, right?
Altogether, we can say hospitality, but then it
Hospital, but
is
there is no
doesn't
industry.
suffice, of course.
See, what do you mean by getting a tag of an industry? Let's understand that. The moment you are called an industry, that means you have a ministry managing you.
Yeah, at least a governing body or a norms that you work
Not only
perform.
norms, there is a fund. Government gives a fund, right? There is an infrastructure fund. There is this industry fund. There is some fund. There is no food service hospitality fund. There is a tourism fund. A industry or a so-called industry employs 7% of India's workforce. It does not have a tag of an industry. Industry means there is a ministry who is managing it. There is a fund that has been allocated every year.
So then we have only Ministry of Tourism.
Only Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
Hospitality doesn't have industry. Food service, all that restaurant.
And all these years of exploring and people speaking over here, what I believe कि जितना development Ministry of Tourism को, again I might be wrong at this part, होना चाहिए, that has not happened till now.
I 100% agree with you. See,
The irony is that I myself is discovering a person who is so into the business in the time span of 3 years I would have reached to you earlier.
yeah,
So this is an irony.
it is an irony. See, when you talk about tourism, okay, how serious this business can be for India, how serious that can be for India. There are countries which is only surviving on tourism, right? What, as a country, what is it that we don't have? We have beaches, we have mountains, we've got hills, we've got temples of the world that you will be surprised to see what those temples are.
It's just that we have not been able to market ourselves correctly into the correct position. As simple as that. So the beauty that you're talking about will never be communicated in its right manner, which it should be. Why? Because focus is on something else
Yes.
to attract tourists from all over the world. And
It
I
is not
should
there. It is not there. Please understand. See, how does it work? So, I'll give you an example. Do you know which is the number one country from where we get the maximum tourist? Take a guess.
country.
Where does India gets is most number of tourists from? You can't even take a wild guess. And you will not even know what they come here for. It is Bangladesh. 22% of tourism in India, it happens from Bangladesh.
No, tourism or the flow of
Tourist, they come here for medical tourism. They come here for treatments. And the reason I brought this topic up is how industries promote or attract. A lot of us, now you'll start seeing what I'm seeing. You go to many hospitals, you will see that there are Bengali speaking people there. Around you, patients talking to each other.
Tamil, I find.
Sorry?
Tamil. Tamil
Tamil
people.
also you'll find.
Yeah.
But it is more Bengali. So when I go to Bangalore hospitals, right? In fact, there are Bengali speaking attendants, Bengali speaking doctors, Bengali speaking those receptionists who are sitting there only to help this. So the moment that hospital realized that I get a lot of people from West Bengal, or Bangladesh. So they have set up their help centers there. If what you are saying that we are trying to attract international tourists from overseas into this, where do we have those help centers? We have to have help centers there, right? Information centers, help centers. We don't have that. That is what an industry has to do. Tourism alone can take care of all your employment requirements. If tourism alone goes, and if tourism and hotel industry has been made as one industry, more funds comes here,
No.
and then industry and the government works together to bring more tourists from outside.
I think apart from all what I discovered you as a consultant, kitchen or whatever, you answered the first question when we started with all. Why are hotels facing attrition and everything like we spoke about? Because it is not an industry, so then your pay scales and the practices and everything is just going the way owner wants.
Of course, not only owners, it is just because it is not an industry, not given the status of the industry.
It is a free
Okay, it
hand
is
to
not.
everybody.
It is not regularized.
Yes. So these irregularities are the reason why people just leave.
Yes,
No stability at
these
all.
hotel management colleges can teach many things. Right? They can become your spokesperson in front of the government, saying that, boss, this is what I need. Right? I can educate more people. Right? People who are suffering in with no jobs in various parts of the country. We can train them for 2 to 3 months free of cost and send them where they want to send. You set up more hotels. You set up more infrastructures. You create structures.
I think that will take time because I think that in ease of doing business category, India is